Hey everyone, it's me, your bag master Walrus 9, back with another episode of the Sloppy World podcast show. You love it, I love it, so let's get right into it. Today, I'm with my very special guest, Lurk. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey there, I'm Lurk. I'm a combat veteran. I'm a content creator. I do all sorts of crazy out there stuff. I'm more of a background character these days, but I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me on the show. It's an absolute pleasure.
Absolute pleasure to have you.
Hey,
You're a veteran. Wow,
I
where
am.
did you serve?
I was U.S. Army for a couple of years. I was 10th Mountain, active Army. I had one combat tour to Kandahar, Afghanistan.
Oh, and how was that, if you
Yeah.
don't mind me? If you don't want to talk about it, you do not have to talk about it.
Um, Honestly, I enjoyed my tour. I love the country. I love the people. I love the food. I loved being there. I loved making a difference. Honestly, all around pretty good vibes. Uh,
No, that's great to
wasn't
hear.
yeah,
Was
yeah,
there, okay, you mentioned the food.
yeah.
I'm from my family's from the Middle East, Lebanon specifically, so it's like more Mediterranean. Was there something specific that you enjoyed food
Oh,
wise?
the non bread.
The
I
naan.
would I
Oh,
would I would kill somebody for some like genuine like Afghan cooked naan bread. I mean, it was just so you go abroad and then you come back to the world and you realize that American bread is kinda like pastries almost. It's so
hmm,
sugary. So,
yeah.
when you go over there, you have the real bread, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is scrumptious."
Oh my goodness, bread is such a, how do you say? It's such an underrated piece of the meal. Like
It
it's
is, and, like
like I
oh,
get
I'm sorry, I
why
didn't
we no no I was gonna say I get why we do the bread we do in the U.S. because we're very much a consumer climate,
Yep.
and so we need to have stuff that is shelf stable, so that way we can transport it to different places. So like all the bread's gonna be made in state A and then be transported to state B, you know.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you do have your this is actually something I know quite a bit about because I was in the logistics chain for that, actually.
Oh.
I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you, but I was, USDA adjacent. I was FGIS, Federal Grain Inspection, for a while. And I do have quite a lot of hands-on with cereal grains entering the food chain.
Hmm. I never knew that about you. How so? Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? I think that's fascinating.
Um, Honestly, it sounds a lot cooler than it is. If you ask me on any given day what I used to do, I will say the super cool title of bioterrorism prevention.
Mm,
It was not that cool. It was essentially me just looking at corn all day, which was very awesome. I made a lot of money doing it, but it was like slave hours. Um,
yeah.
my specialty was wheat, corn, and soy. Those were my 3. I did kinda dabble with sunflowers a little bit with canola,
Okay.
you know, a little bit of canola, a little bit of canola here and there, but,
Absolutely.
I've, one of the main reasons and, never quote me on anything because I'm very often wrong, um, but I'm also very often right, so, I mean, that's just my way of covering my ass when somebody fact checks me. Um, One of the reasons why our bread is genuinely so sugary, so laden with everything is, m 2 reasons really. I wanna say it was Nancy Reagan who whichever, first lady started the food pyramid. I wanna say that was Nancy Reagan.
That sounds
Um,
like that does sound Reaganistic, like that era.
I do know that, like, the protein regulations with the USDA and the FDA did start coming into effect during the Reagan administration, especially, which is why there's so much soy in our food, is
Hmm.
because they said, "Oh, hey, in order to have to sell product, you have to have X amount of protein per gram or kilogram or however much it was, and
Hmm.
that's pretty much like the reason why soy is in kind of like everything. Um,
Hmm.
but the America's wheat epidemic has we don't do particularly well in wheat. We usually are beaten out pretty religiously by France and Ukraine, I believe.
Yeah, I do
Um,
know like Ukraine, one of the big reasons why like Russia invaded to Ukraine. Part of that goes to the history and blah blah blah. And I'm not talking about right and wrong in that regard. I do know that the Ukraine produces some of the most quantities of wheat. It's like the bread box of the world.
yeah, breadbasket.
Yeah, that's it.
Um, it's don't get me wrong, we have our own quote unquote breadbasket, but that's really these days it would really be more the corn belt.
Mm-hmm.
American wheat
Workhorn.
never Yeah, American wheat never does well. And that is because of the nutritional value during the late 19th century and early 20th century when we began industrializing. One of the things that happened was we started, monoculture farming. We
Yeah.
started industrializing farming and we started selectively breeding wheat to
Mm-hmm.
grow faster. So that way that there was shorter, breeding seasons and, you know, uh, I
More
wasn't on the
resistance,
growth side.
more
Yeah,
resistance to
not.
pestilence and stuff like that.
Oh
I
yeah.
know pea plants was part of the CRISPR technology they tried to take into wheat.
Yeah. So because a lot of these, uh, especially during the late Gilded Age, especially some of these, industrial giants that were out there, attempted to, speed up the production seasons of wheat because you only can farm so much wheat in a year.
Yeah.
And especially back then, you're starting to see the first steam tractors. That's going to be Case New Holland. That's going to be John Deere, Caterpillar. Um, And I mean, of course, back then we're talking like steam tractors as well. We're talking like the early days.
Hmm.
That's if you have the money to do that.
Yeah.
You know, um, what you're ending up with is you need a lot of wheat. You need to harvest it incredibly fast. You need to get it to the factory very fast because it's not like today. Food spoiled incredibly quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we didn't also
So
have that like food science as well.
no, we didn't, and the refrigerating was, on the cusp of, becoming something that became, a very large facet in our life, but hadn't quite yet
Mhm.
reached the levels that we had today. Yeah, we had ice cars and everything for trains, but realistically, a lot of that stuff wasn't moving by train. Um, because trains, I mean,
It's a
even with
lot.
the industrial, it is a lot, even with today's, industrial shuttles, all the things that we have at grain elevators, it takes roughly about anywhere between 8 to 32 hours to load in a 117 car shuttle.
Mhm. And then also,
So
like, I don't know if you sorry to diverge, but you ever read The Industry or The Jungle? I think it was called The Jungle, which was about the
I
meat
m-
packing industry back in
no, I
the
have not.
Okay, so it was a famous book, like in the cups of the what I almost want to call the food revolution when we started getting more food conscious. Like we understood that things need to be refrigerated, things go bad, food can make you sick, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
There was a very popular book called The Jungle, which took a look into the meat packing industry and the issues with that. Because what they would do is like they would literally take old spoiled meat, bring it back to the plant, paint it, literally paint it, and then send it back out.
Really? That
Yeah,
does sound like something that would happen. Absolutely.
yeah. So going
To
back
to
to
be fair, even today in today's grain industry, I've seen some sketchy stuff go down. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
Um, Stuff that should not go down, but
that's how it
um,
is sometimes, unfortunately. But anyways, going back to the wheat.
yeah, the unfortunately, we bred most nutritional value out of Americanized wheat,
Mhm.
and because of, cross pollination, uh,
You there?
going off of hearsay. Can you not hear me?
Oh, you cut out for a second.
Oh, I'm so sorry about
You're
that.
fine. You're fine. Happens.
Yep. So I'm going off hearsay here. I am talking out of my ass. I'm going off, you know, he said, she said stuff that I heard working in the
Absolutely.
industry. Essentially, we bred all of the nutritional value out of wheat, and it is incredibly hard to get that back because of cross pollination,
Hmm.
or rather, cross pollination. Um, is it pollination or pollination? Pollination.
Pollination.
Yeah, it would be pollination. I should I'm sorry. I'm
You're
gonna
fine.
mince my words because I'm currently a heavy equipment operator, and it takes loads of brain power to move dirt, unfortunately for me.
No, look, I mess up words all the time. You're fine.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you go anywhere else in the world. I've been to France, I've been to Ireland, I've been to the United Kingdom, well,
Middle
the United
East,
Kingdom, Middle East,
of course.
obviously,
Yeah.
Western Asia, and everything is different. The American food chain is genuinely like, and excuse my French here, like superbly fucked.
Hmm.
And it's mostly because of we've built this monster that can't be toppled. And we wonder why there's such high rates of, obesity. We wonder why there's so high rates of diabetes. We wonder why there's so high rates of, low testosterone, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a lot of that can be traced back to the food industry, which is, people are starting to, pick up on nowadays, but
Yeah, we are
it's
getting a lot
still
more food conscious this day and age.
which we need to be.
Yeah.
We did not have a whole lot of information about what we were doing to our food supply back in the 70s and 80s, and because of that, we're paying for that now.
Hmm.
Um, which is, kind of crazy to think about that something that happened, 50, 40 years ago is we're seeing the repercussions of it now, in, a generation, 2 generations down the line. But I mean, that's just the way it goes sometimes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as unfortunate as it is, I also understand aspects of that. It's like, the United States is it's more of a shipping culture than anything. You know,
It is.
we do a lot of shipping, we do a lot of transportation, and that has influenced. I think, uh,
Especially since the end of the, Second World War. I mean, that's
yeah,
how we won, we shipped more bullets, Band-Aids, and beans than any other country in the world. That's what won us the war, and nobody really talks about that.
war is a logistics game when you really get down to the nitty and the gritty of it, because it's not
Oh,
about
yeah.
who has the most supplies; it's about who uses their supplies the best.
Right, and I mean, that can go any number of ways, the enemy can exploit that by,
Absolutely.
through attrition. Attrition was kind of the name for, the opposing side of the global war on terror, the campaign that I was a part of, and really any veteran over the last 20 years. Um, where I mean, I could really get into the weeds there, but I just kinda don't want to at the moment.
No, you're. I'm not gonna say you
Oh,
have
yeah.
to,
Oh, yeah.
but
But we've been like that since the Second World War. Once we discovered that we can do logistics better than any other, country in the world, because we genuinely do. We are better at it than almost everybody else, I don't care what anybody says.
yes,
I mean, the Japanese. I don't know about the credence of this and how accurate it is, but the story goes is that there was a Japanese admiral, I believe. They were in charge of a Japanese aircraft carrier. They ended up coming into contact with a American fleet, and they ended up getting away by the grace of God somehow. And they debriefed said admiral or captain or whoever he was, and they were like, this is after the war, and they're like, "When did you realize that, Japan might be cooked?" And he essentially said, I think it was the moment that, we were like we asked an American POW, "Yeah, what does that ship over there do?" And he goes, "Oh, that ship? That just makes ice cream."
yeah, I've heard that. I
Yeah.
can't verify, but I've heard that before.
I mean, like, I haven't done the research myself. I haven't looked into the guy's story. I'm sure there's a source out there, but
Yeah.
It was revealed to me in a dream.
No,
Some
again, I've
secret.
heard that story before, and I'm not a military expert to where I can say with 100% confidence that is true or not. But I would also say that is very likely. I could imagine
The
that
s
occurring.
the story has been, like, told to me so many times, even if it's not true, it's just become a staple of folklore. Not that I'm doubting it is true, I'm sure it is. Um, but it really does kinda, like, lend to that the idea that we do logistics better than any other country. I mean, even myself, like, yes, our logistics chain is a fucking nightmare, especially the railroad system.
Yeah.
I worked with the railroad system for about 4 years. That was kind of my bread and butter. That was my wheelhouse. Although I did some truck work and I did some ship work. Not much, not much at all.
Hmm.
Um, but what are you
Yeah.
drawing down there? Drawing a green beret?
I don't know. Just some
Just
dude.
sketched them out. Is that Boone from Fallout New Vegas?
Sure. That's what you want him to be.
Yeah, I don't think. No, Boone didn't have a beard.
I never played New Vegas. It's on my list to play.
Really?
I have the game, but last time I tried it because I bought it on Steam and it was not designed for Steam. It was designed for console. So it was kind of a weird experience booting up and getting everything set up. So I was kind of like moved away from it. But
Really? I
I
had 0 problem, running Fallout New Vegas for the first time on PC.
hmm, I know it's one of those things I need to try again because I have it. I bought it like 2019 on a sale. I got it with the Master Chief Collection as well because I also wanted to play for the Halo story,
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that.
Um, I would say Fallout New Vegas is easily one of the best games of all time.
I see a lot about it.
It's If you ask me, it is the best Fallout. I don't care what anybody says. I will be real. I love Fluffy. I love Blaze. I believe they've been guests on your podcast.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine them not being guests on your podcast at one point or
it,
another.
it was like
They are
one of the
kind of
older episodes. Yeah,
they are wondrous goobers, and over the winter, Fluffy ended up buying me, Fallout 76, so
76.
that way
Yeah.
yeah, and I will be real, I hate that game so bad. Um, Shout out Fluffy, I did repay him, eventually by, buying him Ready or Not. Uh,
Mm.
thank you for, supporting me while I was down bad and broke, baby girl. That was very, very cash money of you.
Mhm. Yeah.
They're just G's in
Oh,
general,
they're
but, like,
great people.
I booted Fallout one time and I was like, "This is not it." Uh, Although it is kind of recently with my life, it's been kinda hard to, guest on their stream recently, which
Get
sucks 'cause
busy.
I do get busy. I've been on my little quests, as you've
Yes.
seen, a lot of quests lately, which I'm figuring some stuff out about my life. It's kinda out there, it's kinda weird, it's strange. It's a new scary time for me, and
It's always a new scary time, because like
y
we as
you're
people
not wrong.
constantly change, and change isn't something that we're comfortable with because it's something that's new to us.
Right. I've never really had the ability to or the opportunity to change comfortably that wasn't forced upon me by some sort of circumstance.
Yeah.
So this is all very, very brand new to me where I'm like, "Oh, okay, I have control over my life. I
Hmm.
can, not worry about, the finances. I'm in a good spot financially.
That's
I don't have
great.
to worry about my living situation, the family's taken care of, all this other stuff." And now I'm like, "Okay, well, for the first time ever, we can sit down and figure things out for ourselves and not just, knee jerk react to everything." And that has been a growing pain, trying to navigate that because I've never quite had that before.
Yeah. No, it's when you're someone who's not used to being comfortable, it feels very weird. Like I can
Right.
say I've been going for like because I teach, so I got the summers off, and I'm so used to being busy into doing stuff and being active, that given this free time that I have, like, I appreciate it because I know I'm gonna be stressed out in the fall when I start up work again. I'm doing little bits here or there, but I'm kind of going for like a seasonal depression.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that happen to me. I just had a 5-month vacation I've never had a vacation longer than about a week, before in my life.
Yeah.
So you kinda saw me flounder over the last few months from January to about May, where, again, new scary time in my life. I'm just kinda like I never quite got the opportunity to decompress from, combat is what I've learned.
Mhm.
I I I thought I did. I turns out I did not, which,
A
kinda
lot of
wild.
people go their whole lives without, like getting out of it 100%. It's one of those things that just doesn't. But I mean,
Right.
my grandfather was a veteran. He served in Korea, but I haven't done any military service, so I'm not like the expert.
I mean, service is different for everybody involved, 100%. Experiences may vary with heavy asterisks. Um, I was not a very good soldier. I was a little bit too critically thinking, and that led to me taking things either too literally or trying to infer things, and that was not the right answer for that career path. I'm not gonna lie. Um, it did not end up doing me any favors until the end of my career. Um, I thought I walked away pretty clean from the experience until about 3 years after I got back from Afghanistan, and I was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, no, we're kinda fucked up, gang." I'm drawing my unit logo, 10th Mountain, the cross bayonets, and the powder keg. Unfortunately, my drawing tablet is broken, so I'm just kinda
You
freewheeling
got a
it.
lot better going on than I am.
This is I'm working with a drawing pen that is, like, actually split in half, so this is I'm surprised I got this one out here. That was kinda crazy. Um,
Yeah.
Climb to glory, boys. Climb to glory.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like grief, that's one of the things they tell you about grief is that like it can just come out of nowhere and it can just go on for like you could be 6, 10 years down the line and just one day one thing reminds you of that person. And so it's kind of like that in that regard where it's just never fully gone. You just kind of manage it better and some days becomes a little tougher to manage.
Right, for me, it was, I genuinely just thought I was, built different, and what I realized is, I came out of the service, and I went from, a very structured, regimented system, and I mean, coming back from a combat environment and then, PCSing almost immediately out of the service. I got out the week of COVID lockdowns, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I won't go too into detail, but I had some like gigantic life changes. I mean, like completely upending, and I ended up back in a large major city, and that was hard to readjust to. I essentially, went from like one war zone to another,
Yeah.
both like physically and financially, because I lived in a pretty rough area. And that was
Yeah.
that was really yeah, I've told you've seen some of the stories and some of the reels. I think I showed you the video of me, in a drive-by shooting where I landed at the airport within 15 minutes, I was already getting shot at, so
Yeah.
just traded one combat zone for another. Shout out Norfolk. I've been thinking a lot about that city a lot. I love Norfolk, Virginia. I do. I miss it so much, but God, I'll never live there again.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a visit, not a liver.
I have once my father goes, I have no reason to actually go back to Norfolk, unfortunately.
Mm.
Um, which he's on his way out the door, which sucks. He's got stage 4, some sort of lymphoma, and
Oh, that sucks. Sorry for that,
some
man.
sort of blood cancer as well. They're talking about taking his leg, but who knows with him? I don't wanna say he's a liar, but he doesn't give the best information, you know what I mean? "Yo, you got
Mhm.
the BIMs on, bro? You got the BIMs? You got the
Just
Yuttas?"
yeah, just some kicks. Maybe some the Tims.
Oh, yeah.
Love me a good pair of Timberlands.
I used to really like Timberlands, and, I'm gonna be real, I have at least when I was a teenager. These days, I fucking stray far away from them. I
Really?
like my Western boots entirely. I only own 1 pair of footwear, and that is a pair of Red Wings, and I believe that they're
Mm,
Irish Settlers or Irish Setters. I really need to get some skate shoes. I used to skateboard pretty heavily. However, I have some injuries, and
yeah.
they, do get in the way of that. Although my little 5-month vacation has, believe
Helped.
it or not, yeah, it's helped dramatically. Turns out taking 5 months and doing nothing, great for your, your
Health, yeah.
recovery. My back doesn't hurt anymore. My shoulders don't hurt anymore. My legs don't hurt anymore, which is awesome. Especially the right leg, which is the one that gives me the most trouble.
Mhm.
Um,
Ah, it's good to
I
hear.
will, I will, I will say though, you saw it, the mental health struggle, especially me currently. I live in a very rural area of the United States.
Yeah,
Once all my luck ran out out east, because I am an East Coaster.
yeah.
I ended up in a very remote area of the United States, very out of the way, very much. I wouldn't even call this a flyover state because nothing flies over the state. It's either you leave the state or you enter the state. There's not really any people that visit the state. You know what I mean? Not even not even an airspace visit.
Mhm.
Um, so I live in a very harsh terrain. I don't want to dox myself where I currently live,
No, I don't
but
have to. Like, there's rural, and people who know rural.
yeah. Well, that is the thing too. It comes down to the weather conditions out here. Um, we are very comparable to Alaska
Mhm.
in terms of climate. Not so much. We do get very harsh winters, not as harsh as Alaska, but if Alaska's the last step on, the last the end of the
Frontier.
road, this if this is if Alaska's the end of the road, this is pretty close to the last rest stop before you reach that.
Yeah.
And being stuck inside in that climate for about 5 months, I was climbing the walls.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like I was going crazy. Like I it got dark there for like a long time. And then I would only go out at night to do snow removal. So I hadn't there was one point where I hadn't seen the sun in probably 2 months
Yeah. Seasonal
because my sleep
depression
was.
is a serious thing, like, with, in the winter for us snowy people. Because, like,
Oh, yeah.
we don't get the sun. Like, in the midst of December, geographically, I get to a position where it's like I'm in before the sun rises and I can be out after the sun sets. So, like, I don't see the sun outside, like, the window.
Oh, yeah. And I live underground, so even worse, you know what I mean? I don't have a window down here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty isolated, you know what I mean? So, for me, it was like, yeah, I go outside during during the nights, and I did snow removal for the city and whatnot, or the town that I lived in,
Yeah.
and, I mean, I it is a city. It is a city. I will not lie. I do live in a large city for where I believe the largest city in, my state.
Hmm.
And, seeing the aurora borealis and everything, that was nice, and that gave me some comfort, but also, I had just gone through a breakup.
Yeah.
I'm figuring stuff out about myself. It's around the time of some pretty traumatic stuff that happened in Afghanistan. I'm generally trying my hardest to figure things out,
Yeah.
and especially in, this is a very hard area to make connections in. So toss a healthy dose of PTSD, loneliness, seasonal depression, being broke for the first time in a few years. That was that was rough, incredibly rough, and I'm gonna have to do it again this year. However, I believe my mental health will be significantly better. I've kind of figured some stuff out,
Mhm.
as you've seen without me going into detail. And at the moment, I kind of do have somebody,
No, that's
um,
great. That's great.
and they make me very happy, and that's what matters. But we'll see if that's the situation come winter again. Knowing my luck, it could be raining titties, and I could look up and catch a mouthful of dick.
Yeah.
That's that's the way it goes, unfortunately, with me.
Well, that's how it goes for a lot of people, and I think, it takes. I don't know if it helps at all, but you could take some solace in the sense that, like, you're not alone. It's just a lot of people don't like talking about those situations because it's hard to remember. It's hard to talk about.
That is the thing is I've learned if I keep it like welled up inside of me, it's just gonna get worse. So I do like there's a great saying out there. It's like you got to do it. You can complain all you want while you do it, but you got to do it.
Exactly. You got to do it.
Which is what you saw all fucking winter in that group chat where
Yeah.
I was just screaming at the walls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Shabby, of course, brainwashing me into joining the Chud army.
Yeah. Chud maxing. It's always a good time,
Oh yeah, I believe if I took his advice and just went to Costco and got a hot dog, I believe I would have been
dude.
in a much better. I've never actually been to Costco.
Really.
There is one right down the street from me,
I,
and everybody offers to bring me there, and I'm gonna be real. I'm just a hater at heart, so they're like, "Costco's great," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, Costco sucks."
Dude,
Fucking
I am one of the biggest proponents for. I don't have a Costco, but I got a Sam's Club. It might be heresy to some, but it's like essentially the same thing, just different parent
I
companies.
yeah, I will be real. If you dude, you wanna hear a funny story?
I'd love
Yesterday
to.
yesterday, I got home after a long day at work. Like I said, I'm a heavy equipment operator, and my company's pretty cool. I love my company. I think I have an amazing boss. I have an amazing company. I'm very blessed to work there. It's been my favorite job I've ever worked.
Yeah.
We have a convict work program. So yesterday I was laying sod, and I had a date later on in the day,
Hmm.
and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna drop these guys off, or it had not set on me that I had to drop these guys off yet because the concrete foreman, I'm excavation. Concrete is a whole nother division. He was not there. He had like pieced out to go do something. And when we finished laying sod, I'm dirty, I'm scuzzy, I'm disgusting. I'm 5 minutes from my house. I'm like, okay, cool. I can just hop right in the shower and just get everything done and head over to their house. And it's gonna be great. I'm gonna have a good time. I'm gonna get my cuddles and snuggles and everything else.
Yeah.
Um, and then they go, "Hey, you gotta go drop the convicts off." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, just one quick drive across town. Where do you guys stay at?" And they're all like, "Oh, we live at X facility, and we live at X facility." And I'm like, "Oh, great! Now I gotta drop a a Dodge Ram 2500 full of convicts off at like various spots amongst 3 cities. This is awesome for me." And of course, they're fresh out the fucking joint, so none of them like know where they live. They don't know how to operate GPSs because they went in before cell phones.
Yeah.
You know, these were guys that got caught up in drug trafficking, that sort of stuff. Um, which is not even surprisingly, it's a nationwide epidemic.
Yeah.
Um,
We really do have a drug crisis.
it is horrible, and I don't understand it. I think a lot of it is escapism, but
Like it.
that's beside the point.
I think it's escapism and a lot of peer pressure with social media. Like,
Yeah,
not to be like boomer technology bad, but boomer technology bad. Like,
no, I'm with you right there. I genuinely am.
because again, I teach, so like it's not drugs in the schools per se, but it's vaping. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's mango flavored, but really, you're gonna spend all your money on nicotine? You're a broke
I
high schooler.
I'm not gonna lie. I started smoking at the age of 11. Um, out of everything I've done in my life, I don't have many regrets.
Yeah.
Um, but picking up that first cigarette is my biggest one,
It's so
for sure.
expensive.
It is. It genuinely is. I'm sure if vaping was around when I was a kid, I would have felt, prey to it. And I used to have a really bad nicotine habit. I used to chew, smoke, and vape all at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, in Afghanistan, I had a 5 pack a day habit. It
Yeah.
was
Well, you're in a very stressful environment. For a lot of
oh
people,
yeah,
it's stress is the primary cause for smoking.
right. I've quit cigarettes entirely. I
Yeah.
unfortunately still do vape very
Well, but
religiously.
here's the thing: the vape is the alternative. I don't mind vapes as an alternative to cigarettes if that's how it gets people to quit, because
Yep.
it smells a lot better. I'm not a big fan of the technology cloud, but it smells a lot better than the cancer cloud. You know, it's
Yeah.
healthier. It's stuff like that. I think it's best. But like these kids go in and they vape. That's how they get into it. If that makes sense. It's not cigarettes to vape. It's just vape. Like,
Yeah, I suppose I could see that. If I had one piece of advice for the youth today, it would be stay away from nicotine until your 20s. I think nicotine does have its uses. I think it does have its benefits socially.
mm-hmm.
It is a nootropic drug. It does or actually boost some cognitive functions within your brain. But I don't believe you should fall prey to the habit. I believe that if you go out to a bar and you want to have like a Marlboro Smooth, go right ahead. If you
Yeah,
want to vape while you're in public, go right ahead. But like same with marijuana. Like wait until like
your brain's developed
you're
and you're better able to handle addiction, and
yeah,
you are better off financially.
exactly. Um that's the, that's why I'm like don't get me wrong, I use marijuana from time to time.
Well, my
Not
dad does it.
habitually.
I'm not a big uh substance person. If I can avoid a substance, I'll try to. Like even like prescribed medicines. Like I took Mucinex when I
Mhm.
had pneumonia. I probably would not have otherwise, but like I was quite literally dying from pneumonia. It
The
wasn't
only
like
thing I
walking pneumonia.
really
It was like pneumonia. I took
the
Mucinex
only
from that, but I tend to stay away from like any stuff just because like I don't want to get addicted. But my dad's got major like back pain and stuff like that, and so it helps him. So I
I
absolutely understand
suppose.
the uses.
I don't think I really take anything other than, NyQuil. I do have a there goes my drawing tablet has finally crapped the bed, unfortunately.
Well,
Um,
at least
I
I
the
could
only thing I
save on
really
here.
take is, NyQuil or Dayquil. I refuse to take really anything else.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a big proponent against recreational marijuana, um, for plenty of reasons. I believe that, the buying age should be 24 because that's when your brain fully develops.
Hmm.
Um, I also hate the smell of marijuana. I'm
Oh,
not gonna
I
lie.
hate it. I despise it
Hate it.
so much. And like he doesn't do it recreationally. He does it like very seldomly as a pain relaxant because
Yeah, which
he's
is
got
exactly what I
serious
use
pain.
it.
Yeah.
That's what I use it for, except for the it's for more mental health resets. I just
Yeah.
actually did one of those days, I believe on Tuesday, and I made the mistake of I forgot how strong the stuff is. I used to be a very habitual user when I was a teenager, but I stopped for over a decade because of my careers, and I got back into it occasionally just to grease the wheels, for mental health and whatnot. I kind of do need a little something something.
No,
I feel
absolutely.
just to kind of keep things level. Not saying that I rely on it at all, but I do kind of. I think everybody needs those.
You need a means of relief, a means of getting out. You know, I have my stuff. I don't do substances. I eat. I eat a lot.
That used to be my vice is I used to be a stress eater. I kinda
Hmm.
There were times in my life where I didn't have ready access to food, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
No, I was kind
to
of always
me
taught, like don't waste, don't throw stuff in the garbage because it was rough growing up. My parents filed for bankruptcy at a point, or almost did something akin to that. So it's like we always learned the value of food.
right, and, I mean, that's very common for our generation, especially if you grew up during the '08 housing crisis, which we're still feeling the weight of, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Um,
And like,
it
yeah, keep going, keep going.
everybody's that nobody will admit it, but everybody's still kind of poised for another bounce back of that recession, even though we're almost 20 years removed from it now. We're still feeling the effects of the housing bubble collapse.
Yeah.
And because so many of us remember what that was like, because I mean, our parents were not prepared for it. A lot of them weren't. I mean,
Hmm.
I grew up originally very upper middle class, and we went from upper middle class to, I mean, like so far below the poverty line that it wasn't even funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'll say one thing. The school I went to, which isn't Maine. I've been very vocal that I'm a Maine resident. Uh, they offered a program where it's like if your family is below the poverty line, you make X amount annually, you guys get free
Yep.
lunch. And we've always applied for the free lunch program.
Right.
So
And like,
that gives a
y-
perspective about doxing myself.
oh yeah. I mean, what is it? 1 in 5 American children go hungry every night.
Yeah. And unfortunately,
That
thing,
that
like
is
I've
that
never,
is a significant number too.
it
That's
really
one in
is.
five.
Yeah, if
You
we're
know,
100, if we're like what do you say the population of the US is? Like 100 million?
pop. No, it's 340 million to 360 million. So that is,
20%. So, like, I mean,
20.
for every 100 million,
Yeah, that's about,
excuse me, wow,
about 20 million.
that's 20 million. So 300 is
But
like 60 million. You're looking about 64 million right there.
yeah, which is a staggering number.
Yeah.
Um, and it really does put things into perspective. But also, how do they calculate that?
That is the biggest issue. Like, I'm kind of going back to like you were talking about how no one's gonna find the bread conversation interesting. I
Mhm.
love logistics. I love statistics. That's what I went to college to major in. I majored in education, but specifically math.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like,
you've seen some of like my hobbies,
yeah.
where I'm a little detective. I love, especially growing up the way that I did. I grew up very in a very hostile environment.
Hmm.
So to me, um, I learned very early on that like information is power, and information can be easily weaponized if you know how to apply it.
Absolutely, absolute.
And Shabby's seen more of it than you have, but you've at least like kind of seen some of the wavelengths that have come out of me at least.
Yeah.
And you've seen what I can do with just a simple breadcrumb. I love the US Census Bureau. Um I believe that some of it's weaponized, I believe some of it's skewed,
Oh yeah.
but I love anything census. I love any sort of like information like that. Um the question is though is where does the line of 1 in 5 children go hungry? Is that they're not meeting nutritional goals?
Yes. What
Is
is
that
hungry?
Yeah,
That's
exactly. How do we
that's
quantify hungry?
yeah. It's as you said, and then the question is like, not to say that the person themselves doesn't know, but where are they getting the information from?
Right. Who is willingly going to tell a member of some census board, "Hey, I can't feed my children." That's how you get your children taken away. You're, you know,
Ah,
pretty much self-incriminating at that point. And a lot of parents, at least if they're decent parents, even if they're not decent parents, I feel like a lot of parents don't want to lose their children, because they are their children.
No, yeah,
You don't pick your parents, but like you don't want to break up a family either. It's why so many
absolutely.
broken homes stay together. Even if it's poverty, impoverishment, domestic violence, that sort of stuff. The family unit is a need for a human individual.
We as humans are like social animals, and it's the most basic layer of social bond that you've got.
Right. But also we're interesting enough, we're like seeing kind of the devolution and kind of the disuse of old social norms. I
Hmm.
mean, you see more and more people kind of pulling away from their parents. You see more and more people pulling away from their communities and whatnot. Especially, I've noticed this.
Yeah.
Um, where I lived in the South, very, 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 community oriented. Everybody knew each other. And then I move up here and I remember trying to meet my neighbors because, I mean, that's just what you do.
Yeah.
And I'll be real, I was bringing, like, ribs and baked ziti over people's houses, and I was like, "Hey, I'm your neighbor, I'm Lurk," and, they just kinda looked at me strange. And th
I
that
feel that.
that to me is weird because I live in a very upper class, neighborhood now. Why wouldn't you know your neighbors?
I feel that exactly. Like, I mean, we've got decent relations with our neighbors, but it's never like let's hang out. Or like at
Right,
least we'll say hi to each other at the when we see each other out on the driveway and whatnot. But
we don't
uh,
even get that.
yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things. And I truly get that if someone's living in a hard home life and you get the opportunity to liberate yourself, you want to take that chance. But I also see a lot of people not fully putting in an effort for change. And they're the ones
Right,
who are most vocal that give it like a bad perception. But one
right.
thing goes wrong and are not willing to try and make it work.
Well, I mean, human beings are creatures of habit, ultimately.
Yeah,
Um, I kinda grew up outside of a lot of societal norms. My lore, and I won't go into that on here.
yeah.
I've had a very, very interesting and very unique life
Mhm.
in terms of my upbringing. So, to me at least, I I understand, but also I don't understand because I mean, a lot of my adult life has been parroting, the way that a normal person is supposed to act.
Yes.
As you see, in the group chat, I am not a normal person, unfortunately,
No,
as
but I
much
think
as I
it's
try
very
to be.
hard to say that anyone's fully normal person, but
Oh,
carry on,
dude,
carry
where
on.
I live now, it's like Wonder Bread Americans. It's white picket fences out here and, nuclear families, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm the freak."
Yeah,
It
but
is genuinely
everyone's
so hard.
hiding that. I mean, they probably see you and they know nothing about your home life. Where it's like,
Oh, yeah. They have no idea that their neighbor owns 55 guns and, 3D prints all sorts of, like, crazy bullshit and, like, puts it in their car and, you know,
yeah,
generally just kinda, like, hangs out with convicts all day at work and whatnot.
yeah. But also, you know
There's
nothing about them. It's because they're not really trying to make that effort to make you known. But
Right. Which is, like, to me, I wanna get to know everybody. I'm a very friendly person.
yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna
I'm
pause for a very quick second to use the
mhm.
restroom. Right
Yep.
back. Yeah, sorry about that. We're back. All right.
Alright, welcome back.
Yeah,
We were talking about neighbors, I believe.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to say it's
Interesting.
like a little sidestepping.
Yep.
I don't know how it is for the company you're in and the business, but I'm a fan of convict reintegration.
Yep. I am too. I believe that, for example, one of my favorite people at work, did a bid for 40 years, for murder 1 or 2. Um, Great guy. You would think the guy is a Buddhist monk. He is, a testament to the idea that, people can be reformed and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Um, but there are certain, like, I don't care if we get a lot of drugs, a lot of former drug users, and they turn their lives around. A lot of alcoholics who made some, pretty bad mistakes. And I always tell these guys when they show up and they're on our crews and whatnot, because I work alongside them. I go, hey man, like, I'm proud of you. You're doing the right thing. Like, keep your nose to the grindstone, out of the pills. Do
Yeah.
what you can, one day at a time. That's all you got to do. Um, but I will say I have no love for chomos. Anybody who
No.
has assaulted a woman or a child, which are, you know, it sounds sexist to say, or even, kind of ageist. Um, they are the most vulnerable members of our society, outside of the elderly as well.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, if you believe, like, if you like, even if like from most sides of the argument, women are instantly put down. If you believe, like, in the traditional U.S. hierarchy male stuff, the men are supposed to be at the top, the women are supposed to be at the bottom, then that makes them vulnerable. And you believe that we women or the women should be equal for men, but they're not because of current privilege and stuff like that, then they are still at the bottom and still very vulnerable. So I think
right.
that's very much a valid opinion or take.
I mean, honestly, everybody is vulnerable at
Yes.
any point in their lives. I'm vulnerable, you're vulnerable, she's vulnerable, your kids are vulnerable. Everybody is vulnerable at some point or in some capacity in their lives.
Yes.
Um, I have a lot of female friends and I am constantly kind of, I know what the world is like. I've been to a few third world countries. I've seen some pretty horrific stuff in my life.
Hmm.
I've seen um even stateside, I've seen women fall prey to domestic violence. I've seen women fall prey to sexual assault.
Hmm.
And the biggest advice I give to anybody of sound mind is you need to get a weapon.
Yes.
You need to
A lot of people
I
don't like to hear that, but
no.
you
I I
you are
kind of do have
totally right.
I have a unique kind of perspective on this that I or at least not perspective but a way of making people see. And it's worked a couple of times. Maybe it'll work for you, viewer, if you're like, "Ew, he's talking about getting a gun." Um, Not taking your safety into your own hands is genuinely like one of the like most classist things you can ever hear.
Hmm.
Oh, I don't want to deal with these ruffians. I'll let the police deal with them. Jeeves, go get the servants to get you know,
Yeah.
these rambunctious rabble rousers away from me. Um, Unfortunately, I've or not unfortunately. I was gonna segue into another thought, but I've worked alongside law enforcement. I did some volunteer stuff. I have a few friends who are in law enforcement, and the one thing that they'll tell you is they cannot be everywhere at once.
No,
They
absolutely.
cannot they cannot respond to everything all at once.
Our
I
town,
believe the average
that
response time for law enforcement is roughly 10 to 15 minutes, and that is if you're not in a rural area.
yeah,
And bad things happen to great people all the time.
my
I
perspective
don't
on this, my
mm,
perspective on this, which is it's not the conversation anyone wants to have, but if someone's got to die, don't let it be you.
correct. There I used to have a patch on the front of my plate carrier, my IOTV, and I still have it on one of my rigs. And it says, "No one is coming, it's up to us." And I firmly believe that in
Hmm.
every facet of life. Nobody's gonna come save you. Which also implies the darker side of that of, well, nobody's gonna come stop you either.
Yes,
Um, which is true. Which is nobody likes to hear that. Your free will is only
it's a good
as
and a bad thing.
it is a good and a bad thing. I tell everybody I know, and I go, "Listen, you should get a weapon. You should become familiar with it. You should
Yeah.
stay up on that weapon because shooting is a perishable skill."
Yes.
I offer, and many women have taken me up on it. I'm like, "Hey, like, I care about your safety. I will go halvesies on you for a gun.
Yeah.
I will go with you so you're not getting taken advantage of because, you know, I
People will
haven't
do
seen
that.
it recently. I haven't seen it recently, but like there are in any industry or any sales position people
Hmm.
that are going to try to take advantage of other people that don't know their stuff. Most gun stores are pretty honest, but every once in a while you'll just get one guy behind the counter and it's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I usually tell people, hey, it's like buying a car. Go safe with it your first time. Go get it like a Glock 19
Do some
subcompact
research.
9 millimeter.
Yeah.
I've owned 4 Glock 19s. I love them. I can't stop acquiring them
I'm
through various
addicted.
means. I am. You've seen me collect, I believe, 3 Glock 19s in the 6 short months that I've been in the group chat.
Yeah. Like it, you don't have to have like a ton of guns. You
No, you
don't
need
have to
one.
have like a ton of rifles. Like
No.
get yourself two guns.
Most people don't need a rifle.
No, get yourself
Like
two guns. You get
if
yourself
you
a handgun for when you're out, and you get
Mhm.
yourself a shotgun for home defense.
See, I'm more in the it really depends. It really depends on where you live. I could really get into the weeds on this.
Hmm.
I would rather law enforcement take a handgun from me for the evidence locker because if you do end up, unfortunately having to, you
Shoot a
know,
person.
shoot a person, which is a terrible thing.
It is.
Um, it is a
Again, we
terrible
we
thing, and
don't
it should not
advise
be
it. We don't think that it should be the thing. But again, if one person has to die, don't let it be you.
exactly. Um, personally, for me, I believe handguns are the way to go for home defense.
Hmm.
If you're living in maybe a smaller apartment, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, because you gotta remember, if you're like living in an apartment, you gotta worry about stoppage. Who's on the other side of that wall? Is that a
No, that
kid's
makes
bedroom on the
sense.
other side? That I live in a house.
Yes.
Um,
That's where I
all
was
the
thinking of with that.
rooms, all the rooms are shoved up against the back wall.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm not gonna lie, if I know somebody's in my house with a gun, I'm shooting through drywall and I'm not stopping until I hear somebody hit the floor.
Yeah.
I'm not even going out there. I'm not clearing rooms. And I was former infantry. I could battle drill six it, sure. But
Why
also,
play it recklessly?
yeah, why play it recklessly? Um, Especially out in the middle of nowhere. I'm a pretty handy guy. I can patch up all the all the drywall. It
Yeah.
won't be a problem. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to expose myself willingly. I'm I shouldn't say that because I would never actually do that. I'm just kind of talking shit right now.
No, that's what a
I
best
would
boost is.
I'm not gonna lie, I would hold an angle. You know what I mean? All 3 bedrooms are up against one thing. I've got the best angle on the rest of the house. I'm gonna I'm gonna hold that angle, and I'm not gonna lie, my 2 brothers are gonna hold their angles as well. And I mean, God help anybody who walks into that line of fire. Um, One of the worst arguments I see against owning a gun, and I get this from a lot of women that I date, and I end up kind of bringing this to their mind, and they end up changing their minds because a lot of women just go, "Oh yeah, no, I'm good for home defense and I'm good for self defense. I have a knife,"
Yeah. Knife loses the
which
gun.
is well, you also have to think about the psychological cost of killing somebody with a knife or maiming them or wounding them even.
Yeah.
The amount of physical labor that it takes to close that distance and plunge a knife into somebody. Um, we both kind of come from the era of live leak. Have you ever seen a video of somebody get stabbing? Somebody being
No, my
stabbed.
friend used to watch Run the Gauntlet back in school. School
They
laptop.
shriek. They shriek, dude. There's a great book out there. I know you're a man who reads as well.
On
Called
occasion.
On Killing by Lieutenant Colonel David Grossman is a book that I think everybody should read. Um, it's a book about the psychological cost of killing in warfare,
Mhm.
and it goes into the psychological aspects and why we train the way that we do. Um,
It's a toll. It
especially mil-
really is a toll. And like I'm fortunate. I'm so fortunate to not be someone who has taken a life, even
right.
like hunting. But it is a serious psychological toll.
It is. It is a brutal toll. A lot of people think, in the moment, you go, "Could you take a life?" And, everybody's gonna go, "Yeah," but the truth is that nobody really thinks about it because there's so much that happens within the brain when you do take a life,
Mhm.
genuinely. There's the adrenaline dump. There is the adrenaline dump leading into immediate elation, and then imagine, getting super high on coke and then just immediately just
Crashing.
whoosh, you're back, you crash within not even seconds, picoseconds. Um, and you see that in some, lethal shooting body cam footage. I was just watching one the other day of a guy that they did a domestic violence house call. The officer responding kicks in the door. The woman is yelling, "I'm being stabbed." She is being stabbed. The man is naked. He's on some sort of substance. He retreats into the back room. He charges the officer when he pies the corner, and then he shoots him square in the chest. And as soon as he does, there's this beat of "oh," and then immediately he falls to his legs and he collapses in on himself.
Yeah.
And that's a hard video to watch. That's a very hard video to watch, and I feel for that guy, and I pray for him. You know, I pray that that burden isn't too heavy on him because, I
Mhm.
mean, that's a brutal burden to
Yeah.
have.
It's not some grandiose thing.
No, and it
It's a
shouldn't be
terrible
it should
situation.
I hate the way that it's romanticized now.
Mhm.
Um, I hate the way that people are like, "Oh, yeah, no, you should just, we're just gonna kill him." It's like, that's not how you should be acclimated to the world.
It should
I
be
get it.
like the last option. Like again, and it sounds like contradictory to what I've been saying, like it's you or them. But in that case, it is the last option, you know?
Right, and, even though it's the last option, and even though you can rationalize that sort of stuff as, "It was him or me, it was blank
Huh.
or blank," you know, you're
Rash
still gonna carry that weight.
yeah.
It's still gonna fuck you up, and that's the part that nobody really talks about, yeah, you see, some of these fucking, these special forces guys go on, Joe Rogan podcast and "Yeah, I smoked that fucking dude," and it's like,
That's probably how they cope with the situation.
yeah, it is, fucking I'll be real. I Some of those guys I believe, some of those guys I fucking don't.
Yeah.
Um,
It's easy to lie.
it is, especially when you can just be like, "Oh yeah, all my shit's redacted." Um, but I tell every woman that I meet, I'm like, "You should go out and you should buy a gun if
Yeah.
you don't feel." Usually the one thing that I get is either guns are icky or I am not capable enough to own a gun, and it's like
Neither is true.
neither is true.
And then one more thing, one more consideration. It's like you and I are both rural guys. So
Yes,
we get some wild animals.
yes.
Like
Okay,
cougars, bears, stuff like that.
yep. Moose for me. I'm
Yeah.
sure for you as well. Um, I actually used to have to carry my weapon on me. I technically was not allowed to.
Yeah.
Um, at one point during my job before I got a certain license. However, I always kept it within our. I've had some pretty chance scary encounters in the United States. I've had some, I don't want to say my life was in danger because I don't believe it was, but I've had some I've had some oh shit moments. One of the worst ones I've had, I got sent 2 hours away to a very, very, very remote spur, which is a dead end line for trains. It's where they park shuttles to get them out of the way in transit.
Yeah.
And this was a grain shuttle. It was nothing but grain cars. I believe it was a 25 car pull, which is easy. And at the time, they were driving me like a slave driver. I cannot mention the company's name that I was under.
They got every
Uh,
dollar out of you.
yeah, they did. You know my story. I ended up having a heart attack on the job because of the stress.
Yeah.
We fell into a weird work law kind of gray area between the USDA and OSHA,
Yeah.
and they ran us like coal miners. I've had like 60-hour shifts before, which is when you say
Insane.
that out loud, it's insane. I believe on this one I was up for 32 hours, which
Yeah.
already, you should not at
You should
that point
never.
past 24, you should never be working, especially in an industrial environment like that. Especially doing something high stakes like that. You should not be operating equipment on, you know, rail cars. We didn't have safety equipment like at all. Like we didn't have safety lines. We didn't have the Sela kits, which are harnesses that you wear, that sort of stuff. We were it was sketchy, and it unfortunately kind of is industry standard.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, at least the little bit I have seen. Granted, we're very rural, we're very out of the way. But again, I'm out there. They sent me from one place. It was a 22-hour train, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like you're gonna go out to this other place." So I had to drive 2 hours back to the city I lived in, and then 2 hours north to this remote spur. I get out there, and you know, I just want to go home. That's all I'm thinking about. And I am so far away from civilization. It is just me and the summer night breeze, and I want to say the moon was out, and I'm so far away. There really wasn't where I live. There isn't much tree coverage. It's very sparse.
Yeah. It's planes.
Very, yeah. It's the Great Plains. Um, I'm out there and I'm loading up my equipment, and I'm bringing probes that are like 12 feet long, 10 feet long. It was 10-foot probes because they were rail cars.
Yeah.
I, you know, I'm doing this alone in the dark after working 22 hours with no safety equipment. And as I'm loading stuff up onto the top of the car, somebody darts from one side of the tracks to the other, like a person.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's rail hopping is
Okay.
common. You see it out here. You know what I mean? It's not as common as it used to be. The railroad isn't harboring hobos unless you're south of the border. That was mostly during the Biden administration that we saw a lot of that, people crossing the border on train cars or getting up to the border on train cars, which was a massive problem.
Hmm.
Um, Even as far north as I was, you would see piss bottles. You would see, discarded clothes, drug paraphernalia, that sort of stuff. And we're talking about our food supply here. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Our food supply
Because
goes
that's what
into
you're
these rail
working.
cars.
You did food.
Yep. But I see this guy dart across in my headlights had not gone off yet. And immediately I got spooked out, and I'm like, this company, I can't lose this job. Like, it's kind of the only income I have right now.
Yeah.
And I just kind of nutted through it. And like, I got stalked from the tree line for it took me a good hour and a half to finish the job that I was doing. And there were parts, I had my flashlight on. I did the entire thing with a Glock 19 in my hand, which took me an extra like 45 minutes because I was fumbling with a Glock the entire time. Because I'm not gonna get caught lacking. Um,
Absolutely.
I remember crossing every single train car, like shining the light down there and expecting somebody to be on the ladder rungs. That was generally like a pretty terrifying night. Knowing that somebody's out there with you and they're not making their presence known. and
No,
they can
that's
hear you, but you can't hear them. You're up on top of this car every time you step, clang, clang, clang. They're walking around in grass. You know what I mean?
look, it's
You ha
corny, but that's like that is a horror movie right there.
It is, it genuinely is. I There was one point where the shuttle was split into 15 and 10 cars, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god, I have to get off these train cars." Um, and I have to get on top of those train cars, and I have to expose myself now.
Mhm.
Um, I wanna say that I yeeted the probe across with, Herculean strength somehow, and then just made a mad dash for the next ladder. Um, but, I mean, I've had a couple of experiences like that. Mm, coyotes
Yeah.
were a bad one, especially the dead of winter. Harvest season for us always happens, right before winter, and so you're seeing a lot of, cereal grain move during the dead of winter, and animals get hungry in the winter.
Oh yeah,
They
that's
get
when it's the
desperate.
scariest. Food is sparse.
Oh, yeah, especially somewhere like me where the whiteout blizzards are really bad, and
Yeah,
you're up on top of this car and, they chase something into the field, and then they hear you clanging around, and now they're stalking you from the ground, and you're like, "Oh, fucking great. Now we gotta deal with coyotes."
and I
And
hate
I
to yeah, I
the
hate to
weather's getting worse, you can't stay up there forever. You're on a time clock,
I hate to
you
tell
gotta do
any
what you gotta
young
do.
impressionable viewers out there, but you're never winning the fight against an animal. Hand to
No,
hand, you're never, never.
not fair. No, yeah, not in a fair fight at least.
Yeah,
Um, Human beings are creatures of tools. Use them. Um, I remember I was with a coworker at the time, and he had braced himself. This was another probe job, actually.
yeah.
And I remember he had the probe, and he was like, "We're gonna have to fucking fight these coyotes off." And I was like, "Fuck, dude, no, we're not." I pulled out the Glock,
Yeah,
but we digressed so far from where this originally went from, which was hiring the convicts.
which is bread. So you brought it all the way back around. Yeah, we
Yeah,
were
we
talking
did.
about hiring convicts. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. The Like how I fuck with everybody except for sex
Dumbos.
offenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Any sort of sex offender, like shit list immediately. There's one at work I'm trying to get fired. He's a truck driver. I fucking hate the guy.
Mhm.
He is a high risk offender. I was actually the guy who clocked him as a sex offender. We have a convict release program liaison,
Yeah.
and they did not tell us it's not their job to tell us what they're guilty of, but it would be nice to know.
Yes.
A couple of our workers, assaulting law enforcement, drug trafficking, that sort of stuff, and um, we we have one or two murderers floating around, and fuck, I get along with them. I do. Um,
Yeah.
Veterans and convicts just kind of get along. You know, we ate
Rough
the same powdered
situations.
eggs. We had the a lot of people don't know this, but the Department of Defense stocks its barracks rooms with stuff from the Department of Corrections. So
Oh yeah.
usually my usually my opening line to a convict is, I bet you don't miss those blue mats. And their face lights up. And they're like, and it's like, yeah. It's like, where'd you go? And it's like, oh no, I was military. And they're like, what? And then you go, oh yeah, no, we shared all the same stuff. We even ate the same food. And they're like,
Yeah.
what?
Schools the same way. We're in the same class of food that prisoners get served.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about, mass distribution of
Resources.
edible material of
Yeah.
resources. Yeah. I was looking for the
Which I
word
get.
there.
And then like the United States has to hold itself as a government position
Yep.
extremely high standards in terms of the quality of it, but also the cost of it. So they meet
Yes.
the bare minimum.
Right.
Which, like, again, I get it because in theory, nothing that is necessary to be provided. It would be nice to be provided. We do a lot better because it's provided, but it's not
Oh yeah.
necessary if that makes sense. But anyways, Yeah,
women
what?
and children, or not so much children, but more women, elderly people, guys who don't own guns.
Yeah,
If you're mentally sound, if you're mentally capable, if you're in a good place, if you're worried about your safety, please, please,
get yourself a
please
gun.
exercise yeah, go exercise your Second Amendment right. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Guys like me fought for it, and there is a reason why it exists. And frankly, you live in the best country in the world for it. There, there's so many great resources out there. There's so many helpful YouTubers, guides, blogs out there, everything. Like the materials out there, you live in the best age for gun ownership. Instagram accounts, fuck, iFunny. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like anywhere you go, you can find something about how to properly maintain, operate, and train with a firearm. And you should take full advantage of that as an American, or Canadian, because I know you guys north of the border, if you're listening,
Yeah.
do have some rights. You should absolutely exercise that right. You should absolutely take your protection into your own hands, and you will be amazed at how much safer you feel. I never go anywhere and doubt my safety. You know, there's You don't have to get tactical with it, you don't need to go out and go buy a rifle for your first gun and go, "Oh, man, I gotta worry about what if the man comes." No, just go out, go get yourself a pistol, treat yourself. If you're gonna be carrying it every day, treat yourself. Go get something nice, man.
Mhm.
Something
But
decent.
I'd say if you want to get two handguns, you start yourself off with a 22. It's cheap. It's
I
easy
would
to get
I would
accustomed to the aim and stuff like that. And then get yourself like a self defense. Get yourself a little sporting gun to get used to firing and stuff like that. And then get yourself a self defense gun. But
I'm
I'm a big fan of the 22.
right. I have a lot of 22 ammunition. I do own 122. I shouldn't I keep forgetting I own it. It's a Heritage Rough Rider. It's a little tiny
Mm-hmm.
plinker. Um, but you guys should absolutely. I recommend 9 millimeter. I believe
It's a
it's
class
a
for a
great.
reason.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you're trading stopping power for capacity, but when you're untrained, when you're getting to learn the guns, it, it sounds stupid, but 15, 17 rounds, that shit goes quick.
It
It goes a
really,
lot,
really does.
especially high. Like it goes quick on a range. High stakes situation, snap and it's gone. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Um, I'm a big fan of, for at least people who aren't trained, capacity over stopping fire. Throwing more lead down range might just win you that fight
Yeah.
until you properly familiarize yourself with the system that you're running.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's kind of why I recommend 22s for getting used to it. Just because, like everything's more expensive this day and age. A
yeah,
22 tends to stay towards the cheaper end of ammunition. You can pick up a box of like 500
except
22.
during election seasons.
Oh
Except
yeah.
during election seasons.
That ain't that the truth.
Right now, 2026, this is the year to go buy a gun. Don't wait till 2027. Go buy
Yeah.
one 2026. Even if it's, go get something, smart. Don't go get a high point. Like, yeah, they're fun range toys. And I get a high point if you can't afford anything else. You know what I mean? I'm a high point fanboy, but I will never tell you to go get one. Um,
But that's
so,
your hobby. Guns are your hobby. And we're not
yes,
telling people to get into guns as a hobby. We're telling to get into self defense.
right,
So you
right.
can acknowledge that difference.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't go buy something that you're like, "Oh, this is goofy and I think this would be fun to go shoot at a range." Go get something that's utilitarian. Go get a Glock.
Yeah.
I know people are hating on the Glocks nowadays. It's the Toyota Camry of guns. It's modular, it's cheap, it's soulless. It's a fucking box.
It is
But
the
there's some
gun.
it is the gun. I recommend Glock 19 to everybody. I've never had a problem with my Gen 5s ever. I've never had a single stovepipe. I've never had a jam. I've never had a negligent discharge.
Mhm.
And not just that, but the modularity of it, everything it can expand to meet your needs.
Yeah.
Um, I very highly recommend Glocks. and I always will because I love them and I'm a Glock fanboy, and I'm a big fan of a silly gun company that sells horse cum,
Yeah, they do that.
which they do. Yeah, any European, any sort of European defense company eventually ends up selling horse cum, because they end up investing in racing horses because it's a lucrative market.
It very much
Um,
is. And then
I
like
want to
it's
say Beretta's in that game too.
yeah, I mean it's like if you're a smart company, if you are a smart company, then you diversify your options. It's like
Well,
how
that's exactly what Glock did. Glock originally was a Tupperware company. They
yeah,
made plastic kitchenware.
yeah. It's like how Yamaha does instruments and motorcycles.
Same with Hitachi. Hitachi understands that they have a lot of experience making industrial equipment, and then they bring that to the mass consumer market. I mean,
Yeah.
Hitachi, you can go there and be like, "Hey, I want to buy an excavator," and it's like, Okay, sir. Would there be anything else?" And it'll be, I need a magic wand vibrator. Shit, you're never gonna believe this. Fucking,
Yeah. Texas Instruments is my favorite one
yes,
because like as a teacher who's taught math, I'm a huge fan of the TI-30X2S. I think that is arguably the best calculator out there. It functions
they.
so smoothly. It functions so greatly. Like $10. Like it's advertised as 15, but you'll always get it for $10. It does literally
I
everything besides graphing. This is
I
me as a
could
calculator
be
nerd.
I could be wrong about this, but Texas Instrument, I believe, also makes the Javelin.
Yeah, they make missiles. Or they
Yep.
don't make the missiles. They do the computer programming for those missiles.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's just like, okay, you're a computer programming company. You might as well
Yep.
sell to the military defense.
Well, every large manufacturing company in some capacity serves the military.
Yes.
Um, I mean, look at Skillcraft. Skillcraft, their biggest buyer is either Department of Corrections or the Department of Defense, or rather Department of War nowadays.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not a fan of that name, by the way.
No.
Um, I believe defense fits better.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not a fan of how militarized. It sounds a little bit too aggressive, in my opinion.
No,
Uh,
we should stop a fight, but we should never start a fight.
which is crazy coming from me because I'm an infantryman.
Yeah.
I should be like war, but no, the truth
No, you've
is,
had the experience to truly get
I'm
down
I'm
to fist fight.
very anti-conflict nowadays.
Yeah.
I try to stay well away from it. I'm gonna throw a little 250 down here for you.
Go ahead.
There we go. Celebrating America's 250th birthday
It's
coming up here
crazy,
in a few
yeah.
days, dude. Hey, what it it's not bicentennial. There's a name for it.
Well,
Uh,
Bicent is 200.
yes, exactly. Because that's
I don't think there's a
um
specific quarter millennial.
it
There was
is the semi-quincentennial centennial.
semi-quincentennial. Okay,
Yes.
that makes
So
sense because it's like half of the
semi yep, have half
half
and
of
then quin being
500.
5. Yep. That's pretty cool. Semi-quincentennial.
I think that's
I like that.
insane, Uh
Yeah.
yeah, not to change away, but like that's one of the I do computers. I'm not like an expert. I'm not gonna drop any videos on computers anytime soon. But that's one of the things I teach is very basic computer science and stuff like that.
Oh, no
And I
way.
love calculators just because
I
I
was gonna
kick in
I
some
was gonna
Excel.
ask what you taught because I've never
So
actually
I'm
asked.
licensed for math. I teach
Mhm.
secondary, so high school.
Yep.
Uh, and I'm licensed for math, but the school I work at needs a science teacher, so I teach science.
I always wanted to be a history teacher. I have a deep, fond love of history.
That's a great
Um,
topic. A lot of people do like it. Uh, and I would love to be teaching math, but I got two things that keep me in that science position. Not to take away from you. I'll let you go
yep.
back to that in just a second. But first off, I live right in town. I can literally walk to work. It'd be like
Well, that's
maybe
nice.
5-10 minutes, which is
It depends
great.
on where I'm working. There are some days where I can walk to work depending on the job site.
Yeah,
I live in a um, very heavily growing city.
yeah,
So it's a very small city, but it's growing quite rapidly, and it's growing rapidly in my area.
hmm,
Um, like today, I walked to work and then I walked home from work, even though I moved positions because I've been working in my own neighborhood. I do residential. Like I said, I'm heavy equipment operator, excavators, bulldozers, skid steers, the likes, the works.
yeah,
Um, I do a lot of transport as well. Um, anything that's not CDL related. I move a lot of skids. I move a lot of dingoes. I move a lot of machinery.
hmm,
Um,
yeah,
but I
it,
have a fondness for teaching, especially I always knew I would have liked teaching, but I kind of got some experience with it in the military. I don't want to say that I was cadre, but I in leadership position you are always going to be teaching your Joes
yes,
something. That is your responsibility to pass knowledge along.
yeah,
Everything that you know, you have to pass on to that next generation, and the hope is that they by the time you leave out of there, they understand the material better than you do. Of course, it's
never the case, but yeah,
never the case.
yeah. Well, you can only hope
Because
for the
think
future.
yeah, you can only hope for the future. I I loved teaching radio classes. That was my first position. I was an RTO.
Yeah,
Um, I loved any sort of opportunity to go speak in front of a group of dudes and make a PowerPoint presentation in the war room and something. I I relished, you know what I mean? I love
hmm,
being hands-on. I'm a very hands-on guy. I like breaking stuff down for the layman. Um, I'm not a very by the books teacher. I go, this is the proper way, and this is the way that,
it works.
that we're doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
like
uh
I'm a very by the books person.
yes.
I'm very structured. I'm very, but the difference is not to say to demote yours. I think yours is even more valuable. Like in public education, you get who you get. It could be students
Yes.
who want to be in school, who want to learn, and it's students who do not want to do that.
Right.
And
And
so it's a
I feel like a
little
lot of
different in that regard. And so I try to,
especially
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
especially this generation that's like kind of coming up and their attention spans are, I'm not going to lie, fried. I
Oh,
had a
absolutely.
ex My last ex was in the education system, and I mean she was dealing with kids a lot younger than what you're dealing with, but
Yeah.
she was always saying like we can't raise our kids on iPads. We can't do this, we can't do that, because I'm a big fan of that, because I genuinely believe it's harming the youth.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I didn't attend much school. Um, you know my story.
Circumstances.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. Yeah, you know my circumstances. I'm not gonna get into it. Like I said, crazy life. But when I did go to school, I was pretty shocked at how behind. Even I'm mostly self educated.
Yeah.
Um, as you know, I was pretty shocked at where the average high schooler was.
It is
When I
really bad for the average. I'm lucky
yeah,
because like I work in a very small school, so
mhm,
I'm better able to know the students and give them more direct learning. I don't know how to phrase it, but it's like, yeah, there's a lot of students that are just rough. Like I tried to explain to them in the biology class that I taught that corn
mhm,
evolved from a type of grass. It was a grain, right?
yes,
And they just couldn't fathom the fact. This was my low group, and I get it. It's a little weird to think about when you first think about it. But like, okay, wheat and corn, they look
yeah.
similar enough to where like over thousands of years of evolution and selective breeding, you get the two different things, you know?
Oh yeah. I remember the inner city school that I attended, I was in AP history.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were still kids who didn't know when the American Revolution happened. And that floored me. Um That genuinely did floor me because they go, when did the American Revolution start? And some kid would like raise his hand and be like 1946. And it's like, what?
Like that's is that World War II was 46 or was it a little earlier?
No, that the World War II was ended by
It
46.
was ended by 46. Okay.
Yeah, it
I knew World War II 46 somewhere around that timeline.
yeah, World War II ends in 1945. I want to say June of 1945, but let me double check. End date of World War II was September 2nd, 1945. I was pretty close
Okay.
with July. Um, oh, I literally just, VE Day and VJ Day, it's July is sparse in the middle of it. Just right because VE Day is May 8th, and
Yeah.
then VJ Day is the Pacific for September 2nd. Um, but no, I was floored by the general, I don't want to say incompetence, but
Ignorance.
ignorance of the average student. Um, Not all of them were like that.
No.
There were a lot of bright people in those classes, but even for an AP history course, that's a little ridiculous. I
Yeah.
mean, like I I retain information like a sponge usually. These days it really depends on how tired I am. I'm not at the top of my game, unfortunately. Tonight I did go grade dirt all day, which takes more mental strain than you would think it
Oh,
does, actually.
absolutely. Yeah. A majority of my day is like grading papers. It's like I'm Mr. Hardass. I give out a lot of homework because I believe that's a very important factor for like developing skills.
Yep.
Like not even if you don't think the homework teaches you anything, right? It teaches
Mhm.
you to do an assignment, which is like what you need to know to work a job. That's my number one takeaway for these students is I want them to be prepared for life after high school. And your free options after high school, unless you want to be an absolute loser, is get a job, go on employment, continue your education, go to college, or get enlisted, go into the military. Triple E,
Right.
right? So you go to the job, you gotta wake up, you gotta do the tasks they tell you. You don't talk back because that's gonna get you fired. You gotta dress appropriately, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which
excuse me.
a lot of people don't understand that the American education system is based around getting people jobs.
Yeah.
It's not truly built around education. It's about giving you the necessary skills to enter a workforce.
Well, college was for the privilege, and like by privilege, it was those smart enough to go to college and those who had the money to go to college, which is
Yeah.
like the definition of privilege for the longest time. It's not until the recent time where we're seeing like everyone getting college degrees.
Yes.
And honestly, it is like, and again, it's not like I don't mind people getting educated, but it's decreased the value of a degree by a significant margin.
Yeah, because
And
only
like,
8% of the population doesn't have some form of higher education.
I'm not. Listen. I'm a component, a proposer, or whatever the word is, supporter. I'm a
Proponent.
supporter of free college education, but I think it's got to be heavily monitored and restricted. Right?
I agree with that. I believe that I'm gonna be real these days, if you ask me, college is a trap.
It really is.
Um,
So, like, dude,
which is sad to say. It genuinely is because, like, you should want to further your career and, you know, get X, Y, and Z. But ultimately, like, a lot of college is just, saying, "Oh yeah, I can show up to the same place for X amount of time and
yeah.
do the bare minimum," which is what
Honestly,
companies are looking
number
for now.
one thing that I hated about my college experience, and I love going to college because I love my math class. I love my professor in my math class. Meeting some certain people was great. I didn't stay on campus because like I didn't want to dish out that kind of money. And
Yep.
I've had the college experience. I don't like a lot of the people on college campus. Anyways,
Yeah.
the number one thing I hated with my education classes was how boring and redundant it was. I spent 4 years, and this could have been a 5 year degree if I didn't take early college classes. I spent 4 years, and I still don't feel like I learned a ton of stuff that was important and relevant. The most valuable experience I got from that was my student teaching experience when they placed me in a classroom and said, "Here's what you're gonna do."
Right.
Like, I think you could seriously take like 1 or 2 semesters, move the education courses into that, and do like 2 3 years of like on the job regulated observation, and it would be infinitely much better.
Oh yeah.
And
For
yeah, go ahead.
for myself, I have the, option of, going to college through my military benefits. I
Yeah,
don't seize any of my military benefits personally, and I have my own reasons for that. A lot of people kind of give me some flack over that. They're like, "You earned it." But
you earned it, but
um
ultimately that's the thing. It's yours. You do what you want, man.
exactly. I will do what I want with
College,
it. You know what I
college
mean?
is a lot. It's like I'm doing master's courses right now to get like administration. Right, it's
Yep.
a lot of time, and I'm in the most time free period of my life right now. A lot.
Right. But for me, I take care of family, I have
Oh
a job, I have a career. I've got I've got things I got to look out for, and I see so many people enter the workforce and I go, "What do you have they go, "I have a degree." And it's like, "Okay, cool. What do you have a degree in?" And they're like, "Oh, I have a degree in, archaeology, or I have a degree in what you call it, architecture." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Are you doing that?" "No, I'm a barista."
yeah. I mean,
And
I will say it is kind of tough right now. My brother got a degree in marine biology, and when he signed up for this college, they all but promised him that like we're gonna get you a job at the college, but the market
yeah,
was not there. It's been tough. He's got a friend who majored in oceanography. He can't
yep.
find a job really anywhere. The
No,
market is tough.
I've got a good friend of mine who majored in archaeology, and it's like, I hate to say this because I don't want to dash anybody's dreams ever. You know what I mean? Go
There's
do what you want to do with your life, but understand the risks that come with entering a job market like that. You know what I
yes,
mean?
absolutely.
Um,
You're not owed a job, as rough as
no.
it is to say. Like,
And
yes,
I mean,
it's
look
so
at the
nice,
people that
but
are entering into the jobs with computer sciences that AI is unfortunately exploiting.
yeah,
You
the
know,
market is not
people
there anymore. Like again,
no.
it sucks. It's terrible. It's like that is kind of the risk of a degree. You know, like that I can be fine because the teacher market is always going to be there,
Yes.
and AI is never going to take that out. As much as
No.
like the news would like to say, we're taking the AI to the teachers. The- You throw a
I
computer for you
I
throw.
genuinely do hate AI so much. I understand a lot of people don't understand why we need AI,
Mhm.
and it's because we've entered into an era of, sixth generational warfare. We need to beat every single one of our enemies to the AI bubble
Yeah,
that we can. Otherwise, we're going to lose the edge. If we are not the best, we are the worst.
it really is,
Um,
and like I'm
and that's what people aren't understanding about AI. It's that we have to do this now.
yeah,
The genie is out of the bottle. It is like nuclear weapons. We don't have a choice.
exactly. It's like those people who say disarm the nuclear weapons program. It's like, okay, it'd be great if everyone can live to that standard, but we can't. You know, like someone is going to
Speaking of,
use this to do something very bad, and we need to be
yeah,
there to prevent that.
absolutely. Um,
Just look at
there's a great
deepfake
book out there.
technology.
Oh my god, dude, that's AI plus porn has hit the youth like
Yeah.
crack,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm so against it.
Yeah.
I'm so against it.
Look, I
Um,
as a
have
teacher,
you ever
uh,
scrolled any of that? Like, oh, that's another thing is have you
the
ever scrolled like
cheating is
those?
so insane, and they don't get why. Like,
It's because you're not retaining anything. If you're not
exactly.
putting if you're not putting the information back into this, right?
Yeah.
How do I know that you've learned this?
And the worst part is like I can excuse a lot. I use AI in a certain sense because like I use it to generate tests. I know the problems with it though. One thing that I've noticed is with AI, if you make a test, is that one, if you input a ton of information at once, AI gets overwhelmed. It's gonna start boggling and it's gonna start repeating answers and questions. So it's terrible in that regard. You have to do it like one by one. Second off,
Yep.
if you ask it to do like multiple choice, it's gonna give you only like B and C as the answer, which becomes very predictable. You don't really have
Yeah.
A's, you don't really have B's. If you do like true and false, it's gonna phrase them like 11 and 4 as true and false.
And I'm sure you do your due diligence and double check the
Oh
AI
yeah, that's what
because
I do. I because I don't have the resources. That's the nice thing about the AI. I can go to ChatGPT for free. I could say I want to test on this. I
Mhm.
wanted this type of question. I go through and then I make sure. I change everything around. I make sure the wording's good. It's like that. I also have students with IEPs. I'm not doxing any information, so I can talk about it. That's like I have to provide them notes, but those notes have to be at a third grade reading level. And
That's
I can't fathom that. I literally
yeah.
can't think at a third grade reading level because I'm so far beyond it. Not to toot my own horn. It's like,
No, I feel you there.
uh, so I've used
Trying
Chat
to
GPT. I
explain
said, like, here's the concept, one, two, three, four, phrase it,
mhm.
I'll print it out and give it to them.
Trying to that is kind of insane because I want to say like a few years ago, America was reading on average at a fifth grade level, and I know that's diminished
Yeah.
significantly to a third grade reading level, which is insane to me because
Yeah.
we're one of the most literate, countries in the world. Um,
It's like,
I we live in an age where people read more than they ever have in human history,
yes. And
and
reading is the most accessible and fun it has been. Like I can get if you're
yeah,
not a fan of like the manga or the comic books or whatnot, but you still gotta recognize that is reading in some extent. Is it as intellectually stimulating? No. But it is still reading. Video games,
yeah,
there's a lot of reading that goes into that.
yep,
You know, it's like it's been the most accessible and the most entertaining for a lot of people in a long time.
yeah. And I mean, there's so much information out there, and it's all at the tip of your fingers. I
Absolutely.
I can see like one or two people not caring about it, but a grand majority of the population is kind of insane. Especially when you look at 100 years ago when America's literacy rate climbed through the roof for the first time, and people were actually saying like reading is rotting people's brains. People are doing this too much. It's crazy to see how we've kind of hit this back step. And I saw it a lot when I was in the military. I mean, a lot of grunts are smarter than most people
Mhm.
assume. You see a guy toting a machine and you're like, that guy's fucking dumb. The truth is that's probably the smartest fucking guy you're ever gonna meet.
Yeah.
But you do meet the odd pogue who can't like sound out a sentence to save his fucking life.
Yeah.
I'm sure with you, being a teacher and everything, one of the things that annoyed me the most, in some of my classes that I did go to when I did attend school was the whole popcorn reading. Because
Mm,
I'm a speed reader. My mom was illiterate.
yeah.
She could not read. She had dysgraphia, dysnumerica, and dyslexia. The
Whole
fucking
combo.
whole trinity. She hated the fact that she couldn't read, and she wanted me to read. I was doing hooked on phonics, for God knows how long. Um, she kept on me about reading. She could not read herself, so she would make me read to her.
Yeah.
Um,
What
all
I
this other stuff.
get. Anyways.
And I got really good at reading aloud. I mean, I don't think it's a very hard skill to attain.
No,
I'm a very proficient speed reader as well. I can blast through a book in a day or two if I really want to. It depends on the book. Um, it also depends on like how much it interests me. But I'll read a little bit of Hamlet and then I'll pass it. It gets passed to somebody else, and
they struggle.
it's like they're buffering.
Yes. Like that's what I did my first year. Because again, I'm not a science major. I'm a math major. So
Yep.
I was fortunate because I teach at the same high school I went to. I was fortunate that a lot of the material had not changed. because it's forceful,
Yes.
right? Uh, so I was decently familiar with it. I understood the process of assigning homework, grading homework, giving feedback, going through a book, stuff like that. My first year, what I did was kind of like popcorn reading like that. I'd have student A read it, then student B read it, then student C read it. This year, what I've done is, and then I would stop in case there was like something I wanted to draw on the board, get
Hmm.
more information going.
Right.
This year, what I've done is I just read it in general, and I'll draw on the board,
Hmm.
which takes away some of the literary skill from that end,
Hmm.
but I can provide visual aids in a much more clear consensus. I don't have to interrupt the flow from a person reading, and I am able to like better construct the stuff. In an ideal world, if I keep up the science position, which I don't want to, I'll probably will for a few more years. I'll
Yep.
make my own curriculum instead of just going through the book.
Yep.
But like that's also unrealistic for a second year teacher. Have your own
Yeah.
curriculum fully made. Yeah. I'm just taking it nice and easy by the time I get through it.
Oh yeah.
But like,
We're talking a lot of serious stuff here. It just kind of like I was just thinking about this as I was as you were talking there. I was like, man, this podcast is going to end, and I'm immediately going to go talk about stealing catalytic converters or something in the group chat
yeah.
because I believe this is the first time we've ever actually talked one on one.
No, this is the first time we've talked one on one. Like maybe there
And
was one time during that winter arc where I think maybe Shabby went on the silent end
yeah,
and we kind of did more one on one in that regards. But like,
yeah, but I'm always on some like random bullshit. You know what
no,
I mean? I'm
that's
a
the
little
thing about a
entertainer.
podcast. That's the number one thing about a podcast. It's just talking.
Yeah,
It's not performative. It's not like people can make it performative or whatnot, but in the end, when you think about what a podcast is supposed to be about two plus people talking about whatever.
oh yeah.
That's what we did. That's what we accomplished here today. It's what we can continue to do for a bit more if you want. It's like
Oh, absolutely.
just
I
talk.
could talk all night. Listen,
Absolutely.
I'm from the South. All right,
Yeah.
I could shoot the wind about anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, which is people up here don't do. So I'm very deprived.
Mm-hmm.
I wanna yap. I wanna have conversations that go nowhere and stories that go untold and unfinished because we digress a gazillion times. And
Absolutely.
people don't do that up here, which sucks.
Yeah.
I miss that. Yo,
Conversation.
oh yeah, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell down
Yeah,
there.
we're drawing some cells up in here.
Oh yeah.
No, and then like yeah, just going back to my teacher talk right there because
Yep.
I got infinite credit. I love my students. The second
Yep.
reason, going back all the way to that prior part, the second reason I teach at the school that I teach at is because I've seen some of the science teachers that we've had before, and they were very shoddy.
Yeah.
We're a small school. We used to have two teachers per subject. Now we're at one teacher per subject because that's just what the funding allows. I would not be surprised within 10 years if we're closed down, as unfortunate as to say. I bet I'd love to teach an admin at this school until I retire. Probably
Yep.
die before I retire, but still. Ugh. The fact of the
You
matter
know.
is that like we small school. Uh,
Yeah.
the prior history teacher we had was a great lady, very nice. Her son had a very rare blood disease where, essentially like he was allergic to his own blood, so he would have to get it like cycled out like every month.
Ooh,
Yeah. So she
that's
moved to
rough.
like North Carolina or Virginia or like Alabama, one of those southeastern states, right?
Yep.
Just because the medical was available there. And like he was old. He was older than me when I was a kid. Like so he's probably about like 30 or 40 right now. Great
Yep.
lady. Lady who came in after was a uh agricultural specialist. Like she ran the FFA, Future Farmers of America. that we had for a year there.
Yep.
Nice lady. She left after a year for circumstances that I won't go into. Nothing in her fault. After that, it was retire, rehire. It was like an English or a math person or something like that. Not science as a specialty. And we had a couple of like again, I don't like talking bad about educators, but like just people who weren't fit for the position and didn't do a good job in the position.
Right.
And the other
Which
teacher who was like a biology guy, he was ready to retire for like the last 5 years of his job. You know, he would go and get high on the job, stuff like that,
ooh.
which is like no one complained about it. It's just a matter of that's what happened.
Yep.
So like he was too lax. His big gimmick. I don't know if you ever heard of Caruso the dog, but it's like a little dash shunned that they put into
Yeah.
situations like India YouTube style situations,
Mm.
and you would just show that for class majority of the days. I remember,
I would be you see, I always took my education very
yeah,
seriously
I
when I was in school.
kids loved it because he wasn't doing anything. It was like, dog, you're the teacher. You gotta do stuff.
For me, that would drive me up a wall to no end. I don't wanna say that I was, like,
Me
hard
too.
charging, like, education freak or something like that, where I was like,
It's a
"Oh, this
gift.
teacher's not doing this job." I'm gonna be annoyed, but, like, dude, like, I'm here to learn. Like, I have no choice. I have to come here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're wasting my time now.
In the end, education's a gift because like it's the
Mhm.
way you get out of bad situations.
Exactly.
Yeah, like and then like
Especially after, like, going to, like, the third world and stuff and seeing that, seeing children who don't have that, dude, it just makes me so
upset.
much more yeah, so
Oh,
much more upset that so many people are taking this stuff they're like, "Oh, yeah, school's dumb. I hate my teachers.
and I
I don't
absolutely
wanna
get
do
why they
this."
take it for granted because they've had it for so long. They've never had to go without it.
Yeah.
It's a unfortunate thing. I just understand why. But no, so like he would show that little dog. I remember one time he was showing Canada's worst drivers. And he was like, "Oh yeah, no, it's like a physics lesson because you're sliding on the ice. Like
Mhm.
this is supposed to be like this is a class on biology."
Yep. Where does physics come into this?
No, exactly. So he was way too laid back for his own good. So
Yeah,
that's why I teach at that school. That way
a
the
lot of that
students
too, I feel, comes down to burnout on the educator's part. I mean, you
it
guys
was
aren't
not
paid the
burnout
best.
on his end. He just got lazy towards the end of it. Which again, I
Yeah.
get it. You've taught for like 50 years.
Yep.
So like do your thing, but like I
The
want to teach. I want these kids. The worst thing that pisses me off the most is when a student says, "I'm done" or "I'm dumb because I went to X school, the school I work at."
yeah, dude.
Because it's like, dog, I went there. My brothers went there. Like my brother got a major in marine biology, which doesn't sound like much, but biology fields are hard.
Yeah, they are.
It's not like marketing. We've got plenty of successful students that graduate from here. My brother's going for pre-med right now.
Yep.
So like you're not only degrading yourself, you're not degrading your peers, but you're degrading everyone who's graduated from here. It's like take some pride in yourself. Take pride. That's the one thing that I hate. They don't have pride.
No. Pride is something that's everybody wants to be a part of something. However, everybody is how do I explain this?
They don't want to go
Human beings,
down.
yeah, they don't want to go down. Um, it used to be that you had pride in your community, your town, your schools, um, your churches, your parishes, all these things. And I believe a lot of it came from the 90s and the counterculture movement because I mean, the 90s especially was, you know, it was culture.
Mhm.
We had it was the era of subculture. Nowadays, there really aren't many subcultures. Yeah, everything
It's
kind of
everything
amalgamates
is
together.
so conjoined because of how easily accessible that we are. with each other due to
R
the internet, social media.
right.
Like, if you don't know people that lived in the next town over because you'd never talked to them,
Yeah,
right? You might play against them in basketball or soccer, but you're never talking to them during that time. Maybe while
right.
the girls play, you can maybe get a hot dog at the stand or whatever, but that's about it for social interaction with other people. Now,
Yeah,
I mean, again, I think the communication aspect is positively great because look, you and I are 2 time zones apart at the very minimum.
yeah.
You could be in
Well,
Beijing,
no,
China right
we're only
now.
one time zone.
Oh,
We're only one time zone. Yeah,
you could be
I'm only an hour behind you.
sick, but you could be in Beijing, China right now. We can have a
Yep,
communication. Not only that, we can
absolutely.
have like a communication where we're talking and we understand each other because of translation. I think that aspect of communication is amazing, but it's a fact
Oh,
that
yeah.
like it's
I use that every
destroyed
day, translating
local.
apps.
Sorry, go ahead.
I use translating apps, every day, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Um, we have a lot of foreigners that work for us. But I didn't mean to cut you off. You go ahead.
no, you're fine. It's just that like it has taken away from a lot of local pride because you no longer need to have that local pride because you can
Yeah.
find solace for community in someone else. And that's
Y
it's nice in that regard, but it takes away from something that was special.
right, and then if you look at, like, human beings, our social capacity, because we do have a limit.
Hmm.
You can only, like, really keep track of about 300 people in your entire life. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of our cap, like, evolutionarily wise. When you look at groups of humans, we can't really process past that point. Um, I don't know where I was going with that, but I do understand what you're saying with the lack of local pride. Like, for example, the city that I live in, it is the nicest city in my state by a long shot. It has the most amenities, it has the most programs, it has the most people. And I go, one of the things that I keep on running into up here that just completely shuts me down because I'm trying to be more social. I'm trying to like make my way out here. I'm trying to make friends, and that's hard as a 28-year-old.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
it's fucking brutal, and it's even harder in a place where
No
there's
one wants to
amenities out
socialize.
here. Nobody wants to socialize. People are stuck in their houses ever since COVID. And I go, "Hey, like, I'm new up here. What's there to do? Drink?
Yeah.
Why the hell did you move up here? Because you guys have jobs and it's a nice place to live?"
Yeah.
And then these are, farm kids who have never fucking left the state, let alone the fucking county, some of them.
Yeah.
And they don't understand how good they have it, because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the people up here were shitting in high cotton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see so
I
many of
do.
you see so many of them, leave for Florida or Texas, and then they come back within a year and they're like, "I couldn't make it out there." It's like,
So many
yeah,
people, so many young. That's our number one export here in Maine is like young people.
same here.
Uh,
Same here.
I get it. It's
And
not It's not interesting. It's not boring. But never have I felt like scared here.
no,
You know.
I've to be honest, I am the scariest person in my state, I feel like. I live in a very sparsely populated state. There's about 10 of us and 4 of us are cows. So, being a East Coaster from, a major city and Appalachia, and just kind of like living a more rough life, I do feel like I'm kind of the apex predator out here in terms of, I mean, my city is so unbelievably safe. Even downtown. Um, People will tell me all the time that, like, downtown, X city is one of the worst areas I've ever been. And I'm
Mhm.
like, dude, downtown X city is
Let me tell you about that time I got
it,
into a shootout or into like a drive-by when I got off the plane.
yeah, yeah. I was 15 minutes off the plane from ORF. I was over by Old Dominion, actually. My I was there to move my brother to the state that I live in now,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, man, like, hey, man, I just had a 17-hour layover in Denver. I just want to I just wanna fucking chill. Let's sit on the couch, let me close my eyes for a little bit." Not even 3 minutes in the house, 9mm bullets are ripping through it because some guy decided to walk down the fucking wrong street wearing the wrong fucking colors.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Exactly.
That's the reality of living in
I
a major
yeah.
city, though.
Yeah. I had one student. I great kid. He improved a lot, like socially and academically. He left for another school because like lower income family has to move.
Yeah,
Uh, Wanted the housing opportunities, provide himself, blah blah blah. But I told him off once because I was like, bud, you act all ghetto, but you're a white boy from this town. Like
yeah,
you've never known struggle. And I get it.
yep,
There's a lot of struggle that can be felt here, but you're not hood, you
right.
know?
I'm I am very hood, except I act upper middle class,
Mm.
and I will always act upper middle class because I believe that's the more couth way to go about life.
You gotta be presentable. I hate people who wear t-shirts or like driving by or walking by in Walmart and people have stickers on their cars like uh bad bitch on the road, buckle your seatbelt or something like
I
that.
hate that.
It's like it's
I
fine,
hate
but
that.
like you're in public, there's kids.
Exactly.
Like
I believe that there's a lack of decorum in American society, unfortunately,
it really
nowadays.
graduation graduation for high school students is supposed to be a good time. It's not a wedding, but it's one of those few times where it's like very premium, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like it's if you don't get married, you don't graduate college, you kind of just work for the rest of your life, blah blah blah. Which is, most people will do something by then. That's one of the very few big ceremonies people will go towards. You
We
dress up for graduation. I'm not saying suit and tie, but like maybe a shirt, button down, a polo at the very minimum.
I'll be completely real. Um, Graduation didn't matter to me personally
Hmm.
because I was holding down a full-time job. I'll be real, I was one of those students that didn't do homework. I skated by with a very minimum GPA because my circumstance. I had stuff going on outside of school.
Yeah.
I was holding down 2 jobs.
No, but I'm
I
not
w I
talking
was
about the students. I'm talking about the
yeah.
parents.
Oh,
These are
really?
like people were wearing
Okay,
like
I
tank.
misunderstand.
No. I didn't get to that part yet. People were
Yeah.
wearing tank tops and like trashy clothes to graduation for their kids.
Right.
It's
If
like
it's your children, you should be respectable.
you
You
should
know what I mean?
draw yourself a little bit better, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like,
Um,
and I get it. I get it. Finances are tough. Not everyone has nice stuff, but a majority of the clothes that I wear are secondhand. They're hand me downs. I got from the thrift
who
shop.
doesn't have one nice plaid shirt?
Exactly.
Who doesn't have one pair of khakis? You know what I mean? That's all you gotta wear. You can wear your work boots. Who cares? But like
Hmm.
at least make an effort, put on some
Yes.
cologne, brush your hair, you know, get the smudges off your glasses and just get out there and be there for, the people that, you paid for and you supported through, their journey of becoming, a young adult.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a very big fan of parents in the lives of their children.
Yes.
I come from a land of multi-generational households. Family is humongous for me. I live with my family. I
I live with my family
rather
too. And
oh
it's
yeah.
sometimes they get on your nerves, but that who doesn't?
Oh
Like,
God, fucking I live with my 2 brothers. I'm trying to get my father to move out here so I can take care of him because
yeah,
I genuinely do.
a
I have
hundred
the
like
means.
I would 100% rather pay rent to my parents than to like some sleazebag scumlord landlord, you know? I'm not
Oh
saying
yeah.
like all sleaze or all scumlords or landlords, but like,
Yep.
the money is going to someone I care about.
Exactly. You're helping out. I grew up in multi-generational households most of my life and I just I miss having my father or, even my mother
Yeah,
and, my grandfather and, everybody around. And it's so odd just to be, the current generation of my family because that's all that's left.
yeah.
Um,
Like my dream situation for living
mhm,
would be to like get a duplex, two houses in one building. I could be by myself. I could go have dinner with my parents. I can go
yeah,
talk with them whenever I want. I'm myself,
yeah,
but I'm next to them. You get what I'm saying?
exactly.
Because it's
You got your own space.
yeah, because like there's a time that I'd like to go and be on my own and stuff like that, but also I care about
Oh
my
yeah.
family because we've had great relations growing up.
Can
So
I can I tangent into a story because we were
go
just
ahead.
talking about graduation?
Yeah, yeah,
I went on a date with somebody very recently,
yeah.
and I'm gonna be real. This is just something that kind of like threw me for a loop that I just kind of want to like get out there into the world.
Yeah.
I met somebody recently. They're 26. Okay,
Nice,
interest aligned, and I ended up going on a second date with them.
nice.
And on the second date, they were drunk,
Hmm.
which yikes. Uh, but they ended up, kind of going into a little bit of their life story. They've had it kind of rough, but or at least rough from their perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everyone's got rough, and I
And
don't think we can invalidate what is rough for one person is rough
no,
for another.
no. Again, from their perspective, to me, this was non-issue stuff,
Yeah,
but stuff that's non-issue to me is humongous issue to other people, and stuff that is issue to me is non-issue for other people. So I understand.
yes.
Um, this person was voicing some of their things about depression,
Hmm.
and they started talking about their graduation. One of the points that I I think quoting them verbatim is, "I went through the entire educational system only to get up on that stage and get 10 seconds of praise."
Mm,
And the only thing that went through my head is, were they supposed to give you a medal or
yeah,
I I don't know. It floored me to hear a 26-year-old say that,
yeah.
where I was like,
Like on one hand, I get it in the sense that it's like you're gassed up all your life, and then that's it. That's the culmination. That's like 'cause for a lot of people, you could really quantify the end of your teenage years as the end of high school. You know,
yeah,
that's when you're stopping a teenager and you start moving towards young adult. So that's the final
right.
bit. That's when you move. But also, it's like, yeah, that's kind of it. It's a very unfortunate philosophy I lend myself to, but it's one that I firmly believe in. Is that you really are not owed anything.
No, no,
Like,
you absolutely aren't.
I
And
try
anything that you
to
do get is a privilege.
yeah I try to uh I try to be grateful, and that means like one of my little mantras I do is like I'm thankful for my hands, I'm thankful for my feet, I'm thankful for my food and the bed where I sleep. Because
That's a
like
pretty good mantra.
I'm not owed anything. I'm not owed social interaction. I'm not owed praise. I'm not owed a lot of stuff. I have to like make the initiative. And is it nice to get it? Absolutely. It is so nice to get recognized, but you need to like earn it. So if you
No, you
were
do,
up
and
there on
even if you do earn it, it's not guaranteed,
exactly. I
right?
mean,
It
one of
never
the
measures
biggest things that you'll recognize from that is work. I mean, you will work your ass off and you'll get often the same recognition, the same pay, and the same praise as like a person who does like nothing.
yeah, that's the unfortunality of life, I mean, there are people that are amazing people that deserve so much better than what they have, and
Hmm.
they get blood cancer at, 19 years old or something like that. Like, that's just the way the cookie you gotta play the cards you're dealt, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Big fan of playing the cards you're dealt, like, you kind of saw it with me, with this, the seasonal depression I had earlier this year, and just kind of trying to figure myself out for the first time. And I was going through it, but
Mhm.
also I was never like, okay, yeah, we can give up. You know what I mean? Like, you got to play the cards you're dealt. I'm
Yeah.
still gonna like, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me because I mean, you saw some of the shit that I was going through.
You're going through a lot.
I was going through a lot. And I still am in some regards, but it's gotten so much better. I'm in so much better of a place,
Yeah,
and I'm so
you
thankful.
never fully get over it, but you get better at handling it.
No, I think a lot of it, to be uncouth here, I think a lot of it came down to is I found a warm hole.
It really do be like that sometimes.
Dude, well, I say that like it's just that. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for affection.
You found a
Um,
warm hole, which was someone's mouth to talk to
exactly.
ears to listen to.
I had so many people telling me, like, "You need to go on a vacation," and I'm like, "That is not the root issue we're having here, gang. I
Mhm.
don't need to get a I like where I live. I like where I stay. I like my house. I like my life.
Yeah,
The problem is that I am lonely,
yeah.
especially in such a rural area, and especially in, uh, as harsh conditions as I live in, ecosystem-wise. That's hard to deal with. We have a saying out here, fall is hitching season, because you want to have somebody to be with during like Halloween through like, the snow. So people, even if they're not good for each other, they'll hitch up,
The hookup, yeah.
and yeah, they'll hook up just to shack up for the winter so that way they have a warm body to sleep next to. Even if they're horrible for each other, which I mean,
Mhm.
I've got my own thoughts about that,
Yeah,
um but everybody was like, you need a vacation. You need to do this and you need to do that. And I was like, gang, I just need a hug.
yeah.
Like that's the thing is I'm mentally aware of myself enough where I'm like, okay, like I know what I need. I know what needs to happen for me to get out of whatever I'm in.
Mhm.
Because I'm very self-aware.
Yeah.
Which is I'm thankful for. Um, but it's also a curse because when you know
It's
what you need
so
and you gotta
hard when it
rely on
hurts.
another human being. Dude, that's rough.
Yeah.
Because you can't control another human being. You can't just, like, walk up to them and be like, "Hey,
Well, you can,
hold."
but it's unethical. But that's besides the
Yeah,
point.
yeah. You
Yeah.
can, but, we're not gonna go there. Um,
That that's
and then
that's behind the paywall.
in
That's the Patreon,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And then
No,
dealing with, I'm not gonna lie, I'm an older guy. I'm 28. I'm
mhm.
I'm I'm getting up there in the years,
Oh, I
and
know
it
it.
gets harder and harder the longer you go.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
And the caliber of people out here aren't the best to begin with. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna lie. I No disrespect to the people of where I live, but holy fuck, dude, come on.
Oh, dude, I know the
Um,
exact because I'm in the same boat. I'm 24, and
yep,
I feel the same way a lot of the time. That, like, I'm missing someone, missing. Like, I want that relationship, but also like
yep,
I don't like the people around. I don't like dating apps. It's
yeah.
probably the only way I can find someone. I'm always concerned, like I'm gonna talk to someone and like, oops, they're 17. You know, because like kids love to age themselves up this day and age. As terrible as it
Yeah,
sounds.
it's scary. That's why my first, date is always a bar.
Yeah,
I The second they're like, "Oh, I don't drink," I'm like, "Yeah, but you can still go to a bar because the bars I
play
go
some
to
pool.
card at the door." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Yeah, let's go play some, billiards or some darts or something." I try to,
Yeah,
you know and if they go, "No, I won't step foot in a bar," that immediate red flag, I'm out.
yeah. No, that makes sense.
That's how I protect myself, and that has saved my ass twice now, actually.
I hate, like, if you meet someone at a bar and they're a minor and you still get in trouble for that. I think it's like I get it. I get it. They don't have the right to consent and stuff like that. And I'm not saying it's like let's go be chomos. I'm saying that it's like, well, if they bypass the bar, then the bar is the one who should be liable for that instance.
Yes,
Because like
yes.
you
I
have a
have a friend,
preconceived notion.
actually. I have a friend, actually, who is, a victim of that.
Yeah,
and he fell victim of that when he was 21, and he's 38 now, and he's still paying for that.
yeah,
Like, he's a fucking wonderful guy. He has 4 kids, he's in the fire department. Great fucking guy. But, I mean, like, that fucked he's had to move places 6, 7 times. He's no longer on the registry, thank God. But,
mhm.
like, hearing his story was heartbreaking because it was like,
That's my biggest fear as a teacher because I could like I could have a student that does not like me, and all they have to do is say the word, and like, and because like you were talking about like the chomos,
yeah.
that's the number one thing people hate. People hate them in prison. People hate them at work because they're a very detestable person in society.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that's my
But
biggest fear is like being falsely accused. And not saying that the justice system would throw me away
I
instantly, but it
I
can get abused.
we have a few at work, like 1 or 2 of them that are genuinely falsely accused. We have a truck driver that is very obviously falsely accused. I don't know. So, he had
Yeah.
a chance 50-50 if the jury was gonna swing. Um, there was a lack of evidence, and it was very hearsay, and I know his story, um,
Hmm.
and the facts don't add up for him committing the act because he has alibis, he has everything. I'm talking like waterproof. You know what I mean? Fucking like the guy could have, but it comes down to the jury at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He got accused by his sister of some pretty heinous shit, and his sister is fucking whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
Um, from what I was told, without divulging too much information, is that I should also preface that this is a stepsister. Um,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
he got his girlfriend pregnant, and I guess she was staying with them because she was the victim of the s- the stepfather's abuse.
Hmm.
And they came home and they were like, "Oh, we have great news. Um, blank is pregnant." And allegedly, the stepsister said, "That should have been my baby."
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa,
Oh.
whoa, Nelly. They were living in a camper at the time,
Yeah.
and he's still with that same girl. Um, and the stepsister had tried to claim that she was raped by him several times in a camper, which I don't know if you've ever been in a camper, but you can't really do anything in a camper
No.
without everybody noticing. Um, they seized like a ton of his. She said that he had photos of her as a minor stored on his Xbox and all sorts of crazy shit. And they, of course, seized it and they checked the digital forensics and nothing came up because, of course, she was lying.
Yeah.
Like, there's another guy, I don't quite know his story enough, but like everybody has told me, like, oh yeah, no, that was some shit put on him by his ex-wife, and it's not true. Um, however, this guy, the one that just got hired through the convict release program, lifelong sex offender registry, he raped 2 15-year-old girls
Yeah.
and he mutilated them. He didn't kill them, but he mutilated them.
Yeah.
And somehow this fucking guy is walking around free. Um, it was me and my brother because we both work at the same company. We were the ones who immediately noticed that something was off about this guy. All the convicts that come out of the centers that are around here get given a cell phone, like a decent one. It's not great. It's like a Motorola,
It's
but
a
yeah,
you can call work.
it's a cheapo, smartphone.
Yeah.
And then this guy comes out and he's got a flip phone. Hmm. And then
Hmm.
he's sitting there in the office and he's like, "Hey, I can't use this because I have to use technology and I have to clock in and out and I'm not allowed to use the internet." And as soon as he said that,
Yeah.
fucking, he left the office and we turned to one of our dispatchers and we were like, "What the fuck is that guy's name?" And fucking he gave us the full name. We immediately looked him up and sure as shit we read the case file. And we were like, "Holy fuck." You
Yeah.
know, I I don't know why we don't fire him. we work in a lot of residential areas. There's a lot of young children, and
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, the second he shows up on one of my sites, I watch that motherfucker like a hawk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody does. I We went around telling everybody in the company what this guy did. We were like, "Watch that fucking guy." Unfortunately, my favorite truck driver, great guy,
Yeah.
but he's a um, little slow. One of those dopey guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just kind of a puppy dog. Is nice to everybody. He gave this guy a fucking cigarette, and I like immediately ran up to his truck. I was like, "Yo, dude, fucking, you can't give that guy a cigarette again." He goes, "Why not?" And I'm like, "Cause he's a fucking sex offender." He goes, "Well, blank the blank's a sex offender." I'm like, "Well, yeah, but he didn't
Mm.
fucking do it." And he's like,
Oh.
"Well, yeah, essentially." And now Chomo is any sort of sex offender like that, who's a genuine sex offender where it's not false accusations,
Yeah.
is a predatory motherfucker. And this guy is kind of special needs, not gonna lie.
Hmm.
Um, I don't say that with any hate in my heart or disrespect. He genuinely is. He
No,
is
that
through a work
there are
program.
people who are special needs. That's the reason why they
Yeah,
have the term special needs.
yeah. He is special needs. Because of an accident that he suffered. He wasn't always like this,
Hmm.
but now he's a little bit more dopey, but he's fun to be around. So I mean, I hang out with him outside of work. I don't care that he's 60. You know what I mean? Fuck, he's just a good guy to hang around. He's my Lenny.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Hey,
get to pet the
Carl.
rabbits, George.
Oh, that Lenny. I was thinking
No,
Simpsons.
no. No, I get to pet the rabbits, George. Um, dude, that's how I want to go out. 38 special to the back of the head, overlooking the river.
But
We've been so serious this entire conversation, and I just threw that out there. Fucking a. Um, but no, fucking now the guy, anytime he'll get on the CB radios and he'll try to talk to the special needs truck driver and try to be buddy buddy with him. He tries to give him cigarettes and like all sorts of stuff because he's trying to win favors. Because if nobody likes you, you don't want to work anywhere. You know what
absolutely
I mean? We go out of our way to make this fucking guy's life
terrible.
miserable. Yeah. Um, our job requires a lot of communication. I refuse to open my mouth and talk to him.
Hmm.
Refuse. And then he inevitably fucks up and I report him. Um,
Yeah.
he's done some really dumb stuff too. Me being an operator, he's gotten out of the truck to try to talk to me while I'm loading his truck. And fun fact, my bucket is rated to carry 3,200 fucking pounds of material.
Yeah.
If you're standing underneath it while I'm actively dumping it into the truck, you're liable to get killed. And I don't feel like going to jail for manslaughter.
Yeah.
So guess what? I'm calling your dispatcher and I'm reporting you.
They say don't shake the vending machines because they could fall on you and kill you. And a
Yeah,
vending
they
machine's
can.
like what, 300 pounds?
They're not heavy, but they're not light.
No, yeah, but you get what I'm saying. So like 3,200 pounds of cargo.
Yeah, 3,200 pounds in a bucket. That's the tipping point. Um, that is a lot of fucking weight.
That's
That's a
that.
redonkulous amount of weight. That's yeah, not. I mean, at the heights of a truck too. You got to think. You're going
Yeah.
up. 11 feet. We're lifting concrete and dirt and like hardened clay and stuff.
Yeah.
Just that.
It's not
And
the
I'm
pillow
talking.
factory you work at.
No, no, and we're talking clay chunks the size of microwave ovens here. You're dead. You're
Yeah.
dead. Fucking, it's happened. It's happened on the job.
There is a reason why we have those signs.
We, my, I would dox myself if I said this.
Yeah. We're not gonna get too deep into it. Anyways,
Yep.
this guy's a dumbass. And
This guy's a dumbass, and we hate him, and everybody. The problem is that truck drivers are hard to find
yeah.
because they end up getting swooped up by oil fields out here. So,
And I'm sure because like I'm not someone who's done it. I'm not someone who's worked in those types of programs. I'm sure companies that offer like what do you call it, like ex convict,
convict. Yeah, convict work program.
Yeah, convict work
Re
programs probably get some
Reintegration
sort of,
is the better
yeah,
convict reintegration work programs.
they probably get some sort of kickback from the
They
government
do,
from the,
absolutely.
yeah. So like
Um,
they have, and if anytime you're working with the government, you know how bureaucratic it is.
mhm.
So they have a huge process to follow.
Oh, absolutely, and they can't fire the guy without just cause, unlike the rest of us. This is a right to work state.
Yeah.
So for the rest of us, they could just be like, "Yeah, we don't like you, go away." But for this guy, we have to have cause, which I think is kind of ridiculous. I all of us are very angry that the people running this program let him get into the position that he's in, and now he's stuck with us until we can finally fire him, which we're trying very hard to do.
Yeah.
Um, because we work around a lot of schools, we work around a lot of residential areas,
Yeah.
a lot of areas with young families, and that's kind of terrifying to worry about. And a lot of us are fathers, a lot of us are ex-cons, a lot of us are military who saw, um, child sex abuse in, abroad, or, know somebody who was, assaulted in that sort of way.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Fucking it's it's hard to deal with when you're at home and you have 2 daughters, and then you think about this guy who raped somebody's 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Like, what if that was you? You know what I mean? Like, that gets in people's heads, dude.
Oh, absolutely. It should. Tough. It's terrible. It's not a great situation. And like all you can do, all you can do is play the game. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah,
in the end,
you still gotta be cordial, which is the shitty part.
yeah.
I'm not cordial to the guy at all. I've been written up a couple of times for, indecent behavior toward him. Um, I my boss sweeps it right underneath the rug, though. Thank God. Um, because I've said some pretty heinous shit to that guy.
Mhm.
The very few times, he's tried to talk to me, and I've said, so I granted, rightfully mean stuff. The guy is a bitch. You know what I mean? If you're
Mhm.
mean to him, he'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna talk to my mom about this and figure out it." It's like, yeah, go talk to your fucking mommy, you fucking loser.
Mhm. You
I
know
think
who
that's the
also probably
nicest thing
want to
I ever
talk to
said.
their mom? The girls.
The fucking yeah, the 2 girls who you fucked up for life because you put fucking piercing needles in their skin and, like, maimed them and shit for life.
I know
Which
it's
is like, the guy has such bad serial killer vibes too. You ever see those, like, True Detective shows?
yeah, true
And
crime.
you're
Like
just like
yeah,
"How the fuck did they not catch this guy?" That's this guy. He's just the biggest fucking creep in the world. He looks like a fucking chomo too.
it is weird how people will look a certain way that like reflects their personality. You know what I mean?
It is very a lot of times, like, names follow the
For
principle
real.
too,
Like
I think.
my name,
Yep,
I'm not gonna dox myself here, but
yep.
every time I have met someone with my name, they're like, "Yeah, I could see. I see us. We look alike."
I've I have never met anybody with my name.
Mhm.
I think you know my name?
I do not.
I'm gonna DM it to you, and you're not gonna believe me.
I like Shabby's name. I didn't believe Shabby's name when I first heard it.
I don't
So
know Shabby's
crazy.
name, he's not that cool with me yet.
Yeah.
No, no, I do know Shabby's name. Okay, I'm DMing it to you.
Oh yeah, that's an uncommon name, but I've heard it before.
Yeah, but it's typically a surname.
Yeah.
But goddamn if I don't look like that motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Much to my chagrin with my new lifestyle. But you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, play the cards you dealt. We've been talking about that all night.
Like hey, I know it's coincidental, but like the paper bag, the goatee
Yeah.
is like the defining feature. The decently sized eyebrows. The only thing that I don't portray there is like I got a big forehead.
There ain't nothing wrong with the big forehead. I got one too.
Oh yeah, like
I I am the most square-jawed motherfucker you've ever met in your life. I look like I eat sheet metal for breakfast, and I hate it. I've got a big Minecraft block head.
yeah, I got a
I wish
round
I had a thinner
face.
face.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my best self portrait, which I'm not a great artist, so I'm not gonna dox myself. You're gonna have to compete against like the 50 million people in the U.S. that also look like this. But I got like a decently round face because I am overweight.
Yeah,
That's what I'm working on. I got a goatee.
I figure that much.
Yeah, sometimes I'll wear it as a full beard because I get lazy.
Mhm.
I got decent eyebrows. I like a nice stocky nose, and that's about it. And like extra forehead room right there. Like
For
the distance between my hairline, like the top of my hairline and my eyes, is like the same distance as like the bottom of my chin to my eyes. That's my
so
forehead.
you're very okay, so you're very center face. For myself, I'm drawing myself up here. I've got these, like, sunken in eyes, unfortunately, from always watching for danger. I've got these, like, super long eyelashes. I'm
Yeah.
very proud of.
Like you,
I'm
if you want the a hero of myself, look up teacher of goatee, and that's it.
it just fits the
It
stereotype.
really is the stereotype.
I've usually got a scowl on my face.
Mhm.
I do be a scowly guy. It's just kind of the natural bitch face. I just kinda look kinda scary.
I know.
I'm really not. I'm a big lovable goofball,
Yeah. Oh my
and
goodness,
then
that's the one thing I try to do. Is like I got a resting scowl or a frown, right?
yep.
My lips are always down. So the one thing when I'm in public that I try to remind myself more than anything else is smile. I'll see
Yeah,
someone,
dude, that's so hard.
I'll see someone, and I see they got a little bit of a frown going on. I'm like, okay, that's my cue. I'll smile. You know what? Sometimes you'll smile back. Because sometimes
Mhm.
that's all you need. You just need a smile towards you. It's not that I know these people at all. It's just a matter of like a smile's what I need to work on doing more.
Most people that meet me, they're usually pretty scared when they first meet me. I'm a big guy,
Do
you
you
know what
give
I
big
mean?
school shooter vibes?
I used to when I had hair down to my fucking knees, but,
Yeah.
um, the trench coat phase did not fucking help me whatsoever in that regard. Um,
Every kid goes through like a trench coat phase.
dude,
I had my own. But I wasn't a
I
school
had
shooter. I was like,
I had, like, a Soviet duster at some point, like a Soviet, like, troop cloak that I bought when I was a teenager, and the combat boots and the fucking I looked like, Jay and Silent Bob almost, but, like, scarier because I was running around the woods with homemade guns and shit that I made in the basement. Fucking I was building fucking pipe shotguns out of fucking Ace Hardware goods, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I was a dangerous kid, but I was, I never used any of that shit for bad. It was just I
it
just
was
wanted
just
to
a
go out and
test.
shoot.
You're kind of curious.
Oh, well, it wasn't that I was curious. I always knew I was into guns, and I was just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, yeah, I can't own a gun,
Or
so
it's a
I'm just
matter
gonna
of can I
make a
do
gun."
this? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no, I've always been very mechanically minded, so, I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't have to look up any internet guides or anything like that. It was just like, "I know how a gun functions. This will work," and sure as shit it did.
Yeah. I
But, like,
love building
I'm
stuff.
very I'm very broad-shouldered too.
Oh my
Like
goodness, I am wide. Dude, I am so friggin' wide. And part of it's the weight, but it's not like
yep,
I have like a gut and then a very slow. I don't look like a triangle.
yeah.
I
I'm
look
just
like,
very, very square in general. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
like
Like, I am a brick.
I got broad shoulders, and then I've picked up some weight recently that I'm trying to lose. I used to be like 250, for a
Yep.
majority of my life, and then like one winter season, I kind of just like I overindulged. It became very sedentary. I got to
Yep.
like 280, and then like another winter season kind of came by, and I popped up to like 300. Now I'm at like 320, but I do not like
Calorie deficit.
320.
Calorie deficit, that's what I did. I was 280 and in January, now I'm down to 199.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
what I'm
also
working
missed the
on.
gym.
I'm actually gonna take a trip to see Fluffy and Blaze this summer, and the I'm not a big spender. I'm not gonna come home with like commemorative plates, stuff like
Yeah,
that. But the one thing I want is to like eat, because I want to experience all the food. I think food's the most important piece of culture.
I agree. That's the biggest thing I miss about the Middle East is the food. I
Yeah.
miss the food so much. I have a couple of Afghan refugee homies up here because the city I live in accepted refugees from the crisis, and I'm very thankful to know them because they're kind of my plug for food. Um, we have a couple of Arabic restaurants in town.
Hmm.
However, you can't beat the authentic thing. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. My mom does well. Okay, so my mom's half uh Lebanese,
Yep.
right? Or she's like genetically full Lebanese. Blah blah blah. But for like the first 12 years of her life, she grew up in West Africa, a small country by
Mm.
the name of Sierra Leone, right?
Oh, okay.
So if you ever seen the movie Blood Diamonds, that's where it
Yes,
takes place.
very, very aware.
Yeah,
I've so fun fact about me. Growing up where I grew up, for whatever reason, we had a ton of people who were Rhodesian war veterans. So I became very involved with African politics when I was a teenager, which
yeah,
is crazy to fucking say because I was not doing my homework, but I was over there like I worked under the table at a bar at one point in my life,
yeah.
and I was a shitty teenager. This was like,
You're
fucking
doing
well,
whatever.
yeah, fucking you had to make the money, you know what I mean? I graduated, like, really early, thank you, George W. Bush, No Child Left Behind program, and I had to make ends meet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just so happened that this was a bar that a lot of roadies frequented. So, you know, I saw a bunch of dudes, and one of the dudes was wearing Rhodesian brushstroke, which is a very, very at least at the time, when this happened, contemporarily, it's a very common there's a lot of reproduction stuff out there, but this is before Rhodesia kinda took off into, kind of the, um, alt-right gun, kinda space that a lot of people find themselves wearing when they're wearing Rhodesian stuff,
Hmm.
because unfortunately there is a lot of white supremacist connotation around it, which I don't understand.
Yeah.
The history of Rhodesia is so interesting without the whole let's bring back apartheid fucking bullshit. And I
Hmm.
don't fucking fuck with any of that. Um, but these guys were, roadie vets, and I walked up to him and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, like, is that genuine brushstroke?" And the guy's fucking face lit up, and he just starts going off. You know what I mean? He's like, "I have never met an American that blah 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 knew about your age." I'm like, I got to talk. Ended up hanging out with them, and hearing their stories from Rhodesia and whatnot was really cool. And then hearing about how they fled to South Africa and eventually to the United States. And I became very involved in African politics. They recommended me tons of books because, of course, Africa's their home continent. They care very much about Africa. They miss it. They
Yeah.
miss,
People
they miss the
who
culture there.
go into what's the term? Uh,
Exile.
yeah, people go into exile that seek asylum, stuff like that. Those who truly do, they don't want to be in the United States, but they need to be in the United States or whatever country they're in. You know what I mean?
There's a great book out there, that's outdated nowadays, unfortunately, because it was written 2015 and the situation has changed dramatically. That's kind of the problem with geopolitics.
Yeah,
I believe it was called Afrique, um, spelled
I see.
Afrique, and wonderful book. It talked about how Africa is likely going to be the next major geopolitical hotbed, and we're currently seeing that be Europe uh, with the Ukraine war.
Yeah.
But that was mostly because China was at the time still constructing the Trans-Tasmanian Railway, and that's its own fucking thing. A lot of people don't understand that the reason why Africa is so fucked up the way that it is mostly because of communist intervention.
Yeah.
It came down to the Cold War. Yeah, did apartheid and, colonialism have humongous roles in it? Yeah, but if you're looking for the degradation, because like, mid-20th century, Africa was actually a pretty nice place to be.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But once the Congo War started, you know, backing by the communists, the USSR, that's where it all started falling apart, and it just spread like a cancer. I mean, look at Rhodesia. You had the, Chinese backing Zapla, I believe, and then the USSR backing Zanlu. Um, let me just double check. I could
Okay.
be wrong about this, and I don't want to be wrong about this.
Yeah. Well, you're the relative expert.
Zanla, Zanla, and Zapla. Yeah,
Okay.
yep. So that would be Zanla was the Zimbabwe African National Liberation Army, which Rhodesia is now um, Zimbabwe, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, and then ZANU is the armed wing of Robert Mugabe's Zimbabwe African National Union. Um, so yeah, they were backed by both, and it's a whole fucking thing. Um, Rhodesia's a really sad cautionary tale, I feel, for
Mm.
a lot of the world, and I believe that they had a because I could go off on this forever.
Yeah. I'll do
I
it.
I could. I'm gonna stop myself there
I
because we're gonna start getting into like really
that
kind of spicy geopolitics because unfortunately
that's
the
just the way
idea
it
of
is. Yeah.
Rhodesia's been kind of hijacked by the alt right, which
Hmm.
fucking sucks because it is such an interesting. It was Africa's Vietnam,
Yeah.
well, one of Africa's Vietnams, and the stories that are there, the music, the culture, the stories. It's it's so interesting to hear from everybody's perspective, from the communist perspective, from the the nationalist perspective, from the loyalist perspective, from the colonial perspective, from even just the geopolitical perspective of England abandoning one of their colonies because they wanted independence, because that's what it came down to. Um,
Hmm.
November 11th, 1979. I believe. I don't know when World War II ended for VJ Day, but I know Rhodesia's fucking uh 4th of July, I guess, their Independence Day.
Yeah. Well, that is Veterans Day, 11/11.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
So I mean, it's one of those days. Like for us in the U.S., it's recognizable in that regard. But anyways,
Yeah.
carry on.
How did we get on the topic of Rhodesia?
Sierra Leone,
Sierra Leone. Yeah, no,
African
so
politics.
I'm hip to Africa. I keep
Yeah.
a close eye on Africa.
I want to say, like,
We just had a new country pop up in Africa.
which one are you referring to?
Um it's let me just double check the name. Um South Sudan is the newest.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I didn't know if it was something else. Because I felt like I've heard
Yeah.
about South Sudan for a little bit.
Yeah, there's apparently some new secessionist group that's currently going on right now.
Hmm.
Um, I was watching a video essay on YouTube about it because of course I'm white. Of course I'm,
Well,
you know.
I want to say two things. I want to say two things real quick. First off, I'm so upset that the school system doesn't talk more about like Africa in its history. Like I know, at least for the school that I work at, we do U.S. History 1, U.S. History 2, and then World History. And World History is the freshman history. It's more like a history of the world. So they focus a lot more on developmental effects, such as like Asia. Asia was very big for technology and invention, gunpowder, paper, the compass. Talk about Middle East with like math and like a
Yep.
lot of the world's major religions stemming from the Middle East,
Yep.
stuff like that. But we never really talk about Africa, especially like the Rwandan genocide. You know,
Right.
because it's like
Exactly.
it still happens. Like China with the Uyghur genocide.
The Uyghurs. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's not World War II. It's like World War II
Look
is
at
like
Libya. Look at Libya. Look
yeah,
how what happened to Libya. Look at Sudan. Look at Ethiopia. Look at
yeah,
Angola. These are places that get brushed under the rug. I mean, you know, Somalia.
mm-hmm.
Somalia is a major one. Fucking,
The pirates.
yeah,
And I get why they do it. It's because like that's the way they need to. Do I approve of it? No, but it's like yeah, it's tough.
yeah.
What was that
I
other?
know I know quite a few South Africans,
Yeah.
and they're very involved in African politics, and it is genuinely very crazy to hear them talk about like stuff that's going on the continent because it just doesn't get out there. You know what I mean? When
Mm-hmm.
was the last time anybody really paid any attention to Africa? That
Have,
would
okay.
have been Coney 2012, unfortunately.
I've got a movie. You ever heard of the film "The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind"?
I want to say yes,
Okay.
actually.
It's about like I think it's Ethiopia. It's some like North African country, and it takes place during like 2001,
Mhm.
and huge drought, huge like famine, and they can't get food or assistance from the United States because like 9/11 had just happened.
Yep.
So it's about a kid who learns how to make a windmill to use a power a water pump so that they
Yep.
can get a second harvest season. Right?
Yes, I have seen this movie.
Such a great film. I show it to my students.
There's a great movie out there that is so fucking sad. It's called Beasts of No Nation.
Yeah.
It's about the Liberian Civil War. I want to say it's Liberia. It could easily be Angola. Um, I'm not gonna double check. It's a great movie, and it's from a child soldier's perspective,
Yeah.
and it's heart wrenching. It's so heart wrenching. Um, it's one of those movies that make you feel dirty at the end. Have you ever seen a movie called Come and See?
No. No, I haven't heard of that one before.
Okay, it's a Holocaust movie.
Yeah.
It's from a Polish perspective, and it is a brutal movie. That movie will like leave you sick at the end.
Yeah.
They spared zero
Details.
zero effort and zero details. They were actually shooting at the actors with real ammunition.
Wow.
Yeah, so the terror in their face, they didn't tell them that it was real ammunition. They let them find out. At
Yeah.
least that's what I heard. Come and See is 1985. So out of the Soviet republics.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna send you the movie poster. That's You could just tell it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. Uh,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I'll
But
let me
it's
copy paste that. I'll try and put that image on here.
Oh, absolutely. It's a crazy movie. It is a crazy movie. Um,
Yeah. So there it is for now. I'm gonna move it just to return the board. But yeah.
the I love obscure war films. I Come and See nowadays is a little bit better known than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There's another movie I really like, it's out of Serbia, I believe, Lepasela Lepagor,
Okay.
which means, pretty village, pretty flame, and it's about the Yugoslavian Civil War.
Hmm.
Um, about the Balkans conflict, and that's a pretty good one, and it's also doesn't pull any punches. Um, it also has one of the best village burning montages I've ever seen in my life.
As weird as it is to say that, yeah,
Yeah, Igor Rock and Roll Salo Yugoslavia is a phenomenal song, and anytime I hear it,
yeah.
it hypes me up. It does. It makes me wanna burn down a village and kill all the goats.
Yeah, and
Um,
not the sidetrack, but I think it's really like I think it's more important than ever for people to see these films.
yes,
Yeah.
because, I mean, we're so desensitized to this stuff. We
Mhm.
really are.
We're desensitized and we don't truly value what we've got. I mean, going back to like education, people who like just don't appreciate it. I'm not saying like you have to beg on your hands and knees for education, but like
Yeah,
you could be in school working on your homework, or you could be a child soldier, or you
yeah.
could be a child miner going for those blood diamonds, or you could be a child thief. Slavery's still a thing in some countries.
It absolutely is.
Uh, so it's like I get it. It's hard for you the way you live, but there are people who have it hard. And I'm not saying to fully invalidate your situation. I'm not saying
Oh,
that
no,
you aren't
I have
welcome
it
to that.
so fucking easy. I have
Yeah,
it so fucking easy.
but
I've
appreciate
seen
what you've
how the
got.
other I've seen how that other half lives, and brother, it's not it.
Oh, exactly. That's why I appreciate. Look, I still feel rights. You know,
Yeah.
it's like shoot the restaurant I was gonna go eat at today was closed because they couldn't get workers for it. I was like, you know
Yep.
what? I'm allowed to be stressed about that, but I can also be appreciative that I can go home and eat, or that I had a chance to go to a restaurant. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's the number one
Like,
thing.
we have our first world problems all
Yes,
day long, but, like, ultimately, dude, this world is brutal.
it's so
I
brutal.
I've seen some fucking crazy, crazy, crazy shit
This is
that, like,
yeah. This is one of
the
my
fact that I'm, like, a functioning human being
after what you've seen,
sometimes after what I've seen, because like, that is the thing, like, once you see those things,
you
you
can't
can't turn
unsee.
back. You
Yeah.
can't like, it's always gonna be with you.
And like this is one of my hot takes, but I'm a firm believer that protesting is a privilege.
Yes.
You know, if you are able to go out on a weekday and protest, it is a very much a sign that you're privileged. And you know what? You're using your privilege to fight for something you believe in. That's perfectly fine. But it's like, even with our first world problems, you have the ability to protest. That's a privilege.
Yeah.
No, so that's the way it goes.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't mind me swinging the conversation somewhere around, just because
Oh, yeah,
I'm,
absolutely.
I'm curious. I'm still curious because one of the first things we talked about was that bread and the corn and the wheat, right?
Yeah, let's
Because
go
the
back to that.
U.S. is such a big producer of corn because of
Yes.
corn oil.
Yes.
Yeah, high fructose corn oil, fructose corn syrup, and high fructose corn syrup are like
Yep.
two of the big things. Corn's a
As well
big
as for
byproduct,
ethanol.
stuff like that. Now, the thing I'm curious about is you were talking about how the wheat was bred to be losing a ton of its nutritional value.
Well, not on purpose, but that's
No,
how it ended up,
I'm
yeah.
curious how much of an impact did the Great Depression have on that? Because like I'm
Well, the
assuming that
Great Depression was coincided by the Dust Bowl.
yes,
I'm sure that I'm not the person to talk about that, but I'm sure it
you're a
had a
person,
significant I am a person. I'm not the qualified person, but I am a person.
you're a
I
person.
I would say that it had a significant impact, likely, that it was probably like, it was already bad, but probably final nails in the coffin.
Mhm.
The Dust Bowl was very hard on agriculture in general,
Yeah,
especially in the age of, monarch monoculture farming, as we've seen, because up until very recently, we subsisted almost entirely off human society and permaculture farms, which
Yeah.
is the mixing of different plants, which is what needs to happen.
Yes,
One of the reasons
nutrients
why
in the
we're having
soil.
a fertilizer and soil crisis is because it's not we're not fucking made to
The soil's not
monoculture.
made.
No, no, nothing is. It's unsustainable long term.
Hmm. So it just I find it curious because like I had yeah, and then we have so much byproduct food that gets wasted
Yep.
because it's not visually appealing and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the number one thing that ends up in landfills is not plastic; it's food.
Yeah. So I'm just I yeah, it's one of those tough situations. Like I want to phrase this. The words fail me. What I like to say.
I believe
The
in you.
the green revolution
Hmm.
is gonna happen again. We're going to experience another financial hardship. I think we're gonna get
Oh,
like another depression
we're
soon.
on the precipice.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have another depression, and that's where stuff is gonna really change out.
We're entering into it right now.
Yeah,
The Strait of Hormuz has fucked us so bad beyond like any sort of like recognition. 50% of the world by next year will experience some sort of famine because fertilizer did not get to where it needs to go.
yeah,
So many places that rely on agriculture, which is everywhere, no
yeah.
matter who you are. Um, say for some incredibly urbanized nations. Even then, there's some
You're
agriculture.
importing. Everyone needs food.
Everybody
You
does need
either
food.
grow
It's a
it or
very
you import it.
exactly, and it's such a fucking like I don't want to say cutthroat, but it's such a razor's edge sort of
Market.
not market, but like just the logistics of it. It's so razor's edge because if crops fail, if there's a crop disease, if you be looking at some like real hard times.
Yeah,
So couple that with the fact that up to 50% of the world is going to experience some sort of famine within the next year. Fuck, dude. I don't even want to know what this world's going to turn into. Fucking people are desperate when they are hungry.
yeah.
Seriously. Um,
But starving to death is not a slow process.
no,
It takes
not at
like
all.
3 weeks to starve.
It does. And dude, everybody likes to pretend like, oh yeah, like we're all good. We're all gonna, do this, we're all gonna do that. And I would never stoop to dude, you're 3 meals away from being a terrorist at all times.
Yeah, you
Real
really
shit.
are.
Like that's all it takes. Like you miss those 3 meals and you have like a full day of starvation, dude, and you don't know where that next meal's coming from. Shit, watch what you do.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like that's you ever watched The Martian?
Yes.
Like that. I love the film. It's one that I show to my students. Shout out to Matt Damon's naked ass in that. Uh,
Mm,
but I feel like the ending portion of it isn't realistic in the sense that like he's had communication, but he's been alone for like a year and a half. He's been rationing his
mm.
food. He would be insane.
Yes. Yes. You would a lot of people are like, "Oh, I wouldn't go insane. I could be alone for X amount of time." Well, yeah, because you have constant stimulation.
Yeah,
You have constant stimulation.
I get sick of the same song like after like a day. He had disco for a year and a half. the same food, we can go and change up our food. I mean, how
Yep.
many people throw away leftovers because, like, I had that last night? Same food over and over again, because that's what you're going to have, I think. Now, I'm in a very fortunate area because I'm in a rural area. There's a lot of agriculture. I'm not saying that, like, I'm going to go down and steal potatoes, which
Yep.
I could, but we got literally across from the school I work at is a potato farm,
Yep.
right? That's a big thing. Local high school that's about 20 minutes away, they have like apple farm that the students will go work at, right? So we have a very big agriculture society. So I think we'll be able to handle something like that in a better situation. A lot of people have land to where they can grow quote unquote victory gardens
Yep.
and understand the rationing of food. So it's like the ones that are going to be to hit the hardest, the absolute hardest, are the urban environments.
Yep. The golden horde.
Yeah,
The golden horde, dude.
which is like classic. It's classic military like warfare. Like if you want to cause panic, you want to cause stress, you want to cause crucial points, you target the big cities.
Oh yeah.
But if you want long lasting damage, you target the sources of what they need. Target power
Yep.
plants and target food production. And smoke them out.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know what? We've been on here for about 3 hours. I'd
I
love
was just thinking that.
I'd love to continue this conversation, and maybe we can continue in a different chat server, but I think we're gonna have to end it here for right now. Again, this has
Hell
been
yeah.
absolutely great. I'd hope to have you on the podcast sometime in the future.
I was gonna say I'd love to be on. I'd love to be on again.
Yeah, but I got plenty of voices I want to hear because there's plenty of stories to be told, and you've got plenty more. But that's gonna
Oh
do
yeah.
it for us today, my friends.
We've scratched barely the surface of everything that I could talk about.
Absolutely. But that's gonna do it for us today, friends. I hope, as always, you have a beautiful day and stay sloppy. Bye bye.
Hey, stay sloppy.